No problem, Struggle Bus. Welcome in, by the way. Welcome in, viewers. Randomly, and yes, Struggle Bus, I see you on chat. No worries. I hope things improve. It's an okay day here. I'm definitely not starting off like I did last stream. Also confirmed good. I have sound, microphone. Hello. Not starting off with the doom and gloom of last stream, in part because I'm not dreading going into the game that we're going to be looking at today, but also, while the capitalism continues to hit, I also understand that it was me. It was mostly me. The capitalism is in fact still hitting and will continue to hit for the foreseeable future. But I'm okay. I'm okay. I was just in a weird mood yesterday, and honestly, kind of going through it after as things picked up. I felt better, and then after that, I had some nice dinner, and I played a few hours of Metaphor Refantasia. I am 16 days from my big meetup with the big bad. This is kind of like a Persona-like game, so like there are dates for things, and where you've got X amount of days to get there. I'm like 15 or 16 days away. I've still got a couple of bounties to do. I've still got a couple of relationship meters to fill up. But I'm loving that game. Holy shit, it's so good. Part of me kind of regrets not streaming it, but because it would have been kind of cool to share that with people. But at the same time, I'm kind of loving having it to myself. I also started playing a little bit of the other one that's kind of big right now, Dragon Age Veilguard. I kind of like it overall. Keep your joy, my guy. We're fine with these. Exactly. No. But that's not really like part of it is, yes, I would have liked to share it with folks because it like there is something like that. Like, what game was I playing years ago? A couple of years ago when I last tried this, Spiritfarer, I think I was playing, and like the experience of that game, I think, was made better by the fact that I got to play that game on stream with people, right? I think I had a better experience with that game in that way than I would have if I've tried to do it solo. Hey, morning, welcome in, Phoenix. But I don't know, for Metaphor, like it really feels it feels weirdly personal. Like yeah, I don't know, that one I'm keeping that to myself. But I did start trying to play a little bit of Veilguard, and I'm enjoying it, but I'm also early enough in it that I might make that a sort of a stream time kind of game, like go back and just kind of start over, make a new character, and start again. And I might that one I might do. We'll see. Metaphor, as much as I enjoyed it, it's kind of like the game that I want to keep for myself. Again, the one that I would love to play, but it's so long, and I would honestly have to start from the beginning again. And and it's such a niche fucking game, and old by now. Sorry, I keep dancing around the subject, but Disco Elysium. Disco Elysium is to me one of the greatest games ever made. I never finished it. I've gotten so close, but I've never actually fully finished it. And yeah, I don't know if I'm ever gonna finish it if I don't do it on stream. But it's also like that's dedication. Well, yeah, no, I'll have a lot more time for streams soon anyway. So we'll see. I might have more time. Anyway, how is everybody doing? I know Struggle Bus, you're in meetings. Phoenix, I hope the day finds you well. I hope anybody else watching or on YouTube or anywhere else is also the day finds them well. I'm having a wonderful one. It's nice and chill, despite the eternal jackhammers outside my window. Which let me take a look. I'm gonna walk off camera for a second, but don't worry, I've got my mic attached so you can hear me ramble. Up, they're still out there. Oh boy, yeah, no, they are quite literally laying pipe. So there's still a couple of giant holes outside on the street outside my window. I don't know when those are going to be finished. Hopefully before the new year. But other than that, I'm doing fine. I got up, had a lovely breakfast, went out for a nice walk around the whole Astoria area. It is a chill day today. It's around like 40 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Europe units, but 40 degrees Fahrenheit is chilly, brisk, if you will. And still got my 10,000 steps in because it is chilly but sunny is for me, perfect walking around weather. So that's what I did, and now I'm back. Had some lunch, full of energy. It is a good Thursday. I'm feeling kind of a more chill kind of vibe as we slide into the end of the week, which I appreciate. Because I don't know, man. I was on edge yesterday. I was on edge coming in yesterday. We left out in better reasons. But today I'm not on edge. Today I am taking a look at this thing, Exalted Essence. Now, folks, I have, in an unprecedented turn of events, your mental illness is making you feel ill. I can't identify. I don't know what an unrelatable what an unrelatable experience. I can't imagine at all what that might be like. Oh friend, I know. Today we're looking at Exalted Essence. Now I have a dark and shameful admission to make to y'all. I've never properly played the original Exalted. I won't even say I'm familiar with it. I am generally acquainted with the original Exalted, in the sense that, it used the dice system that I knew from like World of Darkness ish, and in similar sort of like I knew it was like a similar system. But like I never got into it. I don't know why. Like I guess no one in my immediate circles was really super into it. I was more focused on the World of Darkness stuff, so I never had a lot of interest. I thought, here's the thing, I since I'd never been fully exposed to it, I always thought that Exalted was just some kind of like D&D, a way to play some kind of D&D alike, but using the storyteller system, the World Darkness system. I thought that's what it was, because I hadn't really ever taken a look at it. So later on, years on, I said, oh hey, there are fans. But now it's got a reputation that it's a very big, bulky system, that there's just so much lore, it's very complicated, it's not super friendly to noobs and stuff. I'm like, that's not the energy I'm in for right now. So, oh well, I guess I'll probably never play Exalted, or at least never run it. Maybe I'll play it at somebody's table and they'll play a pre-gen or whatever. But I probably won't ever get to run it. And then they did the Kickstarter for Exalted Essence. And Exalted Essence, the general concept was, or at least how it was originally sold, was as it was to Exalted what sort of Fate Accelerated was to Fate Core. It was supposed to be a more like streamlined, tighter. Again, look at this is a book. It's not a super. Oh, there we go. See, it's about one finger length, one finger tip length. It is, it's not a huge book. And it is kind of like an encapsulation of the core themes and a simplification of the rules and such. Or at least that's what it was sold to me as. And I was like, okay, cool. So a simplified version of this, but I can still get into the world without having to, get a giant tome. And I backed the Kickstarter. And just a few months ago, this came in the mail. Lovely. And a look at this. We got some lovely art. We got all sorts of genres here. We got like robot arm wrestling. Now, the reason I bring all this up is because if you're expecting me to make a solid comparison between the previous versions of Exalted and Exalted Essence, I'm not going to be able to provide that for you, because I am not super familiar with the previous versions of Exalted. I am going to be judging Exalted Essence, weirdly enough, on its own merits, just by itself as a solo. And in fact, interestingly enough, let me see if it says it here. First of all, we've got this is high production, right? This was Onyx Path, right? This is the who was the other publisher, the other company, Paradox, right? Paradox Interactive, all this, like full table of contents. Hell yeah, lots of details. Sorry, I'm skipping over a few things because I want to get lots of charms, so many details. This is the simplified version. Cool. Yeah, we got a little bit of fiction. Um, Here we go. Here we go. So I wanted to read kind of this initial part because the way I kind of saw it presented eventually, the product that we finally got, and this is not a complaint, this is like, oh, interesting kind of thing, is that Exalted Essence is here it goes, says condenses the high-flying action of Exalted 3rd Edition into an easily digestible version, so storytellers can guide new players on their first steps towards incredible adventures. Its pages provide a general overview of creation, Exalted's unique setting, alongside rules for playing all 10 Exalt types, a simplified rule set, storytelling advice, and customizable antagonist templates. It's everything a storyteller or player needs to get started in one book. This book is compatible with Exalted 3rd Edition and all of its subsidiary books. Consider it a companion and supplement, a jumping off point for Myriad Chronicles, or as an introduction to the expanded Exalted 3rd Edition rules. And that's really interesting, because I thought this was going to be, and it is in its own way, it is a standalone system, right? It is meant to be like everything you need to play is in this book, right? You don't need to buy anything else. But it looks like their intention is that this is a jumping off point. This book is meant to be a sort of intro version, a for dummies, if you will, to the Exalted world. And they're hoping you'll have enough fun that then you'll go like, all right, give me the big one, give me the exactly. It's a gateway drug. It's a gateway book to the full Exalted just insanity that I thought I had dodged a bullet on. But here I am, having given these people a not insubstantial amount of money at the Kickstarter for the chance to get me in. I thought I had dodged the bullet, and they're like, but what if we made a smaller bullet, more compact, and then we shot you with that, and maybe you'll like it so much, or you'll be so distracted by it that then we can shoot you with the big bullet, is I think their strategy. Bold move, Cotton. Let's see how that works out for them. Now, first impressions again, book looks beautiful. It is solid. It's big. We like our big solid books. Big strong books. Hey Hemang, welcome in as always over on YouTube. Thank you so much. No worries. Enjoy your travel. I appreciate you stopping by and saying hello even when you don't have time to hang out on the whole stream. Thank you so much. But yes, like the book itself, no complaints. High quality printing. This is a lot of pages, by the way. This is almost 400 pages, and yet not that much thicker than the less than 300 page for Extreme Meat ones we were looking together, because the pages do feel a little thinner. I think the paper's a little thinner than that book. Not that that matters much to you folks if you don't have both books to compare, but kind of keep that in mind, that while it is high quality glossy color printing, the pages feel a little thinner than I've seen from some others, but they're not flimsy at all. I'm just comparing. It's just that coincidentally the most recent one that I had, the pages felt a little bit more thick, and we do like our thick pages. That said, overall book feels great, looks great, lots of art, very colorful. Let's see if I have the usual complaints I have, but I don't think so. I feel like we're going to get since this is I guess a simplification and condensing of these original rules. I'm hoping that we're going to have a pretty smooth experience. That's the whole point, right? Here's the thing. They're making a promise to you. As I always say, like, what's the game's promise? By the way, today's fit is 2 unicorns fucking, because, of course, but what, the game's promise is, hey, we're going to get you into Exalted. You're going to love this. You're going to have fun with this. This is high-flying action, right? But it's going to be easily digestible. You're going to have fun. You're going to get into it. And if you like it, you're going to like it so much that you're going to want to jump into the full insanity of Exalted 3rd Edition. That's the promise they're making. Let's see if they live up to that. Let's see, game system basics. Okay, so good. Let's see. So we've got a little bit of, first of all, do we want to? I think I will, for my benefit. I don't know, because some of you all might already know the lore of Exalted, but again, I'm coming in. I just admitted it. I know nothing. I know next to nothing. I know a little bit, but like I know some terms. I know that like solar exalted or thing. I don't know what that means, but I know that they exist. That's my level of familiarity with the world of Exalted. And again, it is a shameful omission in my tabletop RPG history, which I'm trying to remedy as we speak. So I'm gonna read this fiction right here. I'm gonna go through it to get that vibe, to see what the vibe of the world that I'm diving into here is. So let's see. We begin. From a balcony high above her city, the sorcerer queen watches her ape-folk army drill. Dawn limns the horizon with its first golden strands. Later today, a silver-packed emissary will speak of vengeance against the realm, asking for both her input and her blessing. In the meantime, her books of sorcery call. Even after all these centuries, she still has much to learn. Far away, a soul steel-clad knight rides through the city of thorns. Hoofbeats echo off the stalls of a once vibrant market, its brilliant banners now faded. Ghosts bow their heads as the death knight passes. The living avert their eyes. The rising sun merely makes the Shadowlands' gray light a little paler. He passes through the city gates towards a castle of jagged bone. Within, the Abyssal's master awaits. On an icy northern plain, 3 figures seek a forgotten tomb's entrance. The body interred within was once a forgotten age ago, the youngest of the 3. Inside, she hopes, is the orichalcum diclave, whose familiar weight might jar loose some memories. The sun climbs above the clouds, illuminating a sigil buried beneath the ice, one matching the glowing golden mark on her forehead. In a grand room, Yu Shan, an old man, reads the future in the weave of fate, frowning at what his divinations reveal. Concerned about what he has foreseen, he heaves himself to his feet and sets off along heaven's jade-lined streets. The sun streams through a gate standing in a vast pavilion. On the other side, it's mid-morning on the Blessed Isle. 5 dynasts, resplendent in jade armor, march forth from the imperial city. The noonday sun shines upon them, catches the edges of dayclaves and grim cleavers. The weapons already have glorious histories, earned at the hand of these warriors' ancestors. Now the young dragon-blooded set out to forge new legends, intent on slaying anathema in the wild hunt. I am assuming these are all terms that I will soon learn about. Among Chiaroscuro's jagged glass towers, a man who never was consults a star chart. His enemies have set destinies spinning like plates, and he intends to send them all crashing to the ground. He's seen another way things might turn out, a better way. The sun dances on the water in Chiaroscuro's bay. On the horizon, a ship that never existed unfurls its sails. The machine god's chosen accepts her technician's hand as she steps into the daylight. She blinks in the afternoon sun, and machinery whirs behind her eyes as they adjust to the brightness. Her new implants tingle with potential. She excitedly waits for the technician to declare everything in order before testing them out, but she loves the familiarity of routine as much as the thrill of new possibilities. Waves lap at the ankles of the tide god's daughter. Even here, Wu Jian's bustle reaches her ears. Newfound power courses through her, along with a directive from the god who died to make her his champion. The setting sun turns the sea a heart-achingly molten gold. The waves climb higher as the tide comes in, washing away the exigent's footsteps as she begins her task. A sickly green sun burns over the demon city as one of its princes readies for war. Demons attend her, girding her with orichalcum armor crafted in hell's own forges. She is glorious and terrible, and soon creation's tyrants will tremble and fall to her wrath. Her diclave's hilt is carved from an enemy's femur. She raises the sword, signaling the march's commencement. The demons roar. At dusk, the line between Shadowland and creation is almost imperceptible, but the Dark Mother's chosen knows the moment she crosses over it. She feels the change deep down, in bones that weren't always her own, just as she knows her quarry isn't far ahead. Some ghosts need extra convincing to go on to their rest. The sun sets over creation, but glory, destiny, vengeance, and duty never sleep. All right, cool, good times. All right, so what are the vibes that we just got from that? Definitely straight up just epic adventure, epic like heroes and villains, world-shaking events, high, deep, mysterious magic, machine people, demons. Fascinating. Okay, cool. So super high, kind of like a little bit, kitchen sink fantasy, right? Just a little bit of everything, it sounds like. Let's see. So basically very JRPG kind of in feeling, right? Let's see. Exalted Essence welcomes new and returning fans of Exalted alike to the world of creation. This book opens the doors to the wonder and majesty of epic heroes striding across a fantasy world unlike any other. They tangle with physical, emotional, and structural threats far greater than those of everyday mortals. As we saw, condenses the high-flying action of Exalted 3rd Edition, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and then first thing we see is game system basics. Interesting. Let's see what we got. Exalted Essence is a tabletop role-playing game where one storyteller adjudicates the game and plans the main story beats, while usually 2 to 5 players create unique characters using the rules in this book. Together, the players and their characters interact with the shared world and story, shared world and story being built at the table or over the internet in some fashion. Characters in Exalted resolve actions and address changes by assembling pools of 10-sided dice based on their characters' attributes, abilities, and other factors. So initial look at the system is probably going to be pretty familiar. There's pools of D10s, attributes, and abilities. And hey, Felix, welcome in, friend. Welcome in. Yes, we are full on looking at Exalted Essence and its mechanics now. But again, this looks very simple. All right, so the core of it. You roll, success 7, 8, 9. Every die that comes up in a stand counts as 2 successes. Cool. So it's very similar to the story guide system that we have in newer versions of just everything like what we saw in Curseborn. 79 success and 10 is a double success. Cool. I don't know if that's coming through in the background. They are. Okay, just stop. They are literally just. They've got powers. No, it's back. They've got power saws outside my window. I hope that's not coming through. Okay, if the result is at least as many successes as the difficulty the roll succeeds, any successes in excess of the difficulty are called extra successes, and these often provide additional benefits. Again, we saw something similar in Curseborn. Good thing we saw the system. This looks very similar to the Curseborn system. Solid, because we like the Curseborn system. In fact, this came, I think, slightly before Curseborn. They're from the same company. Makes sense, right? Makes sense. If a player's total successes are less than the difficulty, the roll fails. If there are no successes and at least one die showing a 1, this is called the botch, which is a critically bad failure. Certain special powers circumstances may change these rules, but it's always spelled out if they do. Cool, solid. This is great, by the way. This gets first, because that's it. First thing you did right after telling me this is the game, this is the vibe, this is the promise, this is at its core what you're going to be doing. You're going to be, looking at your attributes and abilities, assembling a pool of D10s, rolling in, looking for 7, 8, 9s and 10s. And if you don't, this, it's bad things. Cool. That's it. That's the game system in a nutshell, in 2 paragraphs or less. Beautiful. Absolutely excellent work. No notes. And then we have this then turns into 400 pages, basically. It's, you remember those little, I don't know if y'all had these growing up, but those little pills that actually had sort of a super compressed little sponge dinosaur inside, and you just drop them into water and the pill would dissolve and the sponge would grow into a full size, well, not full size, but full sponge sized dino sponge thing. Just me. Probably just me. All right. So the book at a glance, chapter 1, Welcome to Creation, explains the history of Exalted settings, its current state of affairs, and dozens of places from which characters may originate, and storytellers can set their games. Cool. From there on, so interesting, because normally I like to have the character types as soon as possible, right? And here it's giving us a setting, but it's not a huge one from what I'm seeing, right? Chapter 1, Welcome to Creation. Let's see. Give me a second. Let's see. So we got this, and already we're talking some character concepts. All right, so even though it's like a core intro, we're still getting inspiration. So the idea is that even before, and this is nice, before you even get to, all right, what are the character types you can play, this game really wants you to know about its world first. Placing this, it's not that big either. It's, it's just a few pages. It's like, this is what, page 23 through page 43, like literally 20 pages of world building and setting. Not that bad, especially considering the size of this book. I expected more, right? And I'm sure there's more. I'm sure there's a lot more setting. Also the pills that turn to washcloths. Yeah, exactly, Phoenix. Exactly. But I like the dinosaur example better, because who doesn't like dinosaurs? And then we're going into actual character types. We have the Dragon-blooded, Exigence, Lunar, Sidereal, Solar. And if you're brand new to Exalted, Solars or Dragon-blooded are the simplest and most straightforward choices. Thank you for the tip. But it's like, rather than, like, the game wants you to make your choice less based on what you're about to see in chapter 2, but based on what you learned in chapter 1. Is the intention I'm getting by presenting this first, which, cool, solid. I appreciate what they're trying to do. As coming at these games from, first of all, my first exposure to the world of Exalted. So again, anybody new on stream, please do keep that in mind, that this is my first exposure to Exalted. I do not know enough about Exalted 3rd edition to compare it. And as we saw at the beginning, this is not meant to be a replacement for Exalted 3rd edition, but rather an on-ramp. So if anything, I'm kind of the perfect audience. Somebody who is familiar, maybe was intimidated by Exalted 3rd edition and thought, maybe I won't play this, right? But here we go, Exalted Essence, like, hey, buddy, I know, Exalted 3rd edition is a lot, but we can present this, get you a nice little compact, comparatively compact version of Exalted, and we think you're gonna like it. And if you like it enough, these same rules just flow into Exalted 3rd edition. Solid plan. I approve of that. I approve what they're trying to do, and honestly, I'm excited to dive into this. But first, let's finish up with the section that we were. At least let's finish it up right after these messages. It's ad time. All right, I don't make the rules. The ads make the rules, alas. You know what? You're right. Yeah, it is. It is. Alchemicals, forged by the machine god, for Exalted 3. Yeah, that just launched. Also, going to Backer Kit reminded me that the Ars Magica Backer Kit ends in 6 hours, and I don't have the money. Oh my God, there's so many good games. There's so much good stuff, guys, folks. There's so much good stuff, and I have money for none of it. I have so many games. There's so many more games, and I'm so happy about that. Ars Magica Definitive Edition. Oh my God, I would have loved to back this, and I don't have the money for it. The new Slayer, the new Hunter Monster of the Week, the Slayer Survival Kit, the Hunter's Journal. I wish I could pick those up. I can't. Trail of Cthulhu Second Edition is ending. Oh my God, there's so many. Yeah, no, it's. I, I don't want to block them though. I want to support them. I want to buy stuff. What I want is money to buy all the things. At the Gates just ended, which looks like what is it? At the Gates was a sort of JRPG inspired thing, like their version. They were trying to do something like oh, what's the other one? Fabula Ultima. Yeah, Fabula Ultima. Oh my God, there's so many games, folks. There's so many games, and I can't. I can't. Well, we'll look at the ones that we can while we can. I mean, I literally have enough games both on my shelves and in my like PDF folder that I would be able to I could do these streams daily for the next like 10 years, and not have to spend a single cent on a new game. But also I want to spend all the cents on all the new games because I love the games. Folks, we technically haven't gotten past the first page, and we're already past the first ad break. I'm so proud of us. The book at a glance. So welcome to creation. Then the Exalted explains the 10 playable Exalt types, those chosen by the myriad gods of creation, and provides the unique rules for using each in games. Chapter 3 is then character creation, which provides a detailed explanation for building an Exalted character. Cool. Chapter 4 is then the core rules, contains all the basic rules, when to roll dice, etc., etc. Chapter 5, storytelling. Chapter 6, charms, details all the special powers accessible to Exalted characters. I suspect that's the biggest part of this book. If this index here, where was it? If the index is any indication, it's just charms, charms, charmity, charms. Charmity, charms, right? No, here, charms. So yeah, the bulk of this book, I suspect, is just the powers, which that's gonna be fun. Let's see here. Righty, meeting's over. Crowbar to the rails. It's because I wasn't here to distract. Arbalest gets it. Exalted charms will forever be the biggest part of the book. Hey, look, again, it's my first exposure to Exalted. I am beginning to understand this though, based merely on the index alone. Needs something called pulses. Listen up, motherfucker. I don't remember this being a big problem for Onyx Path things, but it still happens occasionally. We'll be like, why is that a merit? That is not a benefit. That is not. I'm not spending. What is that 3-point merit? That's a 1-point merit at best. So we'll see. let me hydrate a little. Actually, I'm almost out of water. So give me a second. Actually, you know what? Yeah, charms of the things PC advisors say, yeah, there's a rule that says I can't, but I have this rule that says I can. I mean, isn't that's the thing. Look, you established your game system. This is at its core. Like, technically, you could take this out, just take this one paragraph out, and that's your game. That's the entirety of the game is right here. You can everything else comes from here. So, yes. When everything comes from here, that means that everything else, all the rest of these 400 pages are exceptions to this one paragraph. That is how games work. You establish a core mechanic, and then the game is built out of the exceptions to that core mechanic. Is kind of how I approach this. On that note, folks, bear with me. Hang on, I'm gonna mute myself just for a second. I need water. I need water. I don't want to do a full be right back. So I'm just going to leave you here looking at this book. All right. Bear with me just a moment. I'm going to mute myself, though. I'm going to mute myself. Give me a second. Hey. All right, we're back. We're back. Welcome back. All right, let's see here. This is what the bad guys do. Well, fuck that. I stopped them. Yeah, basically. I mean, it sounds like what we're about to get into, right? Let's see. So charms, that antagonist covers the threats that exalted characters may face in a game. Chapter 8 Panoply is a listing of equipment, gear, and wonders for exalted characters to use. And then an appendix includes information on making custom material as well as converting characters to and from Exalted 3rd Edition. Neat. Cool. So they want you to do that. Excellent. Lexicon. A substantial lexicon, I bet. Let's look at this. You know what? Let's learn some terms. Because I complain about this in other games, right? I go like, oh, here's a word that you haven't defined. What the fuck does that mean? Right? So here we go. All right. But they're trying to head me off at the pass and define the words before I get to them. Well played, Onyx Path. Well played. The Age of Sorrows, the current time period in which the game is set, also called the Second Age. Anathema. Those named as threats to dragon-blooded rule by the Immaculate Order and pursued by the Wild Hunt. Cool. Anima, the display of divine power caused by Exalted using essence. Hey, that's the name of the game. Artifact, an item with great magical powers, often forged from the magical materials. Aspects, some types of Exalted, like the Dragon-Blooded and Liminals, are divided into multiple aspects, reflecting their personality and nature. Cool. Caste, some types of Exalted, like Solars and Lunars, are divided into multiple castes, reflecting their individual role and prowess. Caste Mark, a symbol of power that appears on some Exalted's foreheads, indicating their caste. A charm, capital C charm. The inherent powers of the Exalted, powered by essence. Creation, the world of Exalted, enormous flat plane. Oh my god, flat plane. So we're establishing this. The world of Exalted is not Earth in any way, shape, or form, right? Wasn't there a... I once thought that Exalted was... it's not Exalted, it's not Scion either. Right? Because part of me thought... How did I get this impression? That Exalted was like the past of the world of darkness? Or am I thinking of, is there a different one? It's not Exalted. It's not Scion. What's that third one that is technically the past? Right? But there was one, and it's not like the Dark Ages books. Or am I just kind of having a minor stroke right now and just making this shit up as I go? Entirely possible that I'm making this shit up. But cool. All right, so it's a flat plane, no edges, or good luck finding the edges. Cool. I am having a moment. I might be. Very true. Very true. Diclave is an artifact sword. Cool, so magic swords. Death Lords are ancient ghosts possessing enormous power. They hold dominion in the underworld. Domain is a place of raw magical power which may produce a hearthstone. Manses can be built on domains to harness their power. Cool. Demons are spirits who reside in Malpheus. See, that's the thing. Some of these terms feel familiar to World of Darkness, right? But they're not. But it's not. This is a completely separate plane. 1E Exalted. Okay, that's why. By the way, hey, welcome in, TJ Sear. Good to see you on chat. Welcome in, friend. Okay. So I didn't entirely make that up. I didn't entirely make that up. That actually did exist, but it was in previous edition, 1E. We're in 30, and now Essence, kind of not as an after 30, but rather as a sort of like side parallel branch that is meant to merge back into full 30. All right, cool. At least, okay, good. I didn't entirely make this up. I am probably making most things up because that's just who I am as a person. But cool. Okay, not see. There we go. Thank you. This would have made me so just distracted later on. It was digging at me. It was like, but where did I get that impression? Did I make that up? No. Good. The Dynast, a member of the Realm's Scarlet Dynasty, often exalted. An elemental, spirits of the natural world made up of creation's 5 elements. They are physical beings. Essence, the power that makes up creation and fuels its magic. Evocation, a unique charm type unlocked from artifacts. Exalted, humans empowered by essence to defeat the makers of the world, also called the Chosen. There are 10 types of Exalted: Abyssals, Alchemicals, Dragon-blooded, Exigents, Jetimians, Infernals, Liminals, Lunars, Sidereals, and Solars. Exaltation, the moment in which a mortal becomes exalted. Exigent, an exalt created by a god lesser than the celestial incarnate. All right. You know, I asked for definitions, not necessarily meanings. I don't know what this means, but I have had the word defined. Actually, you know what? Wait. Side rail. Not full derail, but let's hop rails a second because I brought this up before and I want to mention it before I forget. I want to gauge interest from folks. Because what triggered this was Worm. Because there is a game called what is it, My Master of the Worm or something like that, and that is one of many. There are a whole bunch of solo RPGs that I keep hearing wonderful things about, right? And I kind of want to play one of those on stream, see how they go. But also I want to know, like, is there interest? Would you all be down for a little bit of me actually playing an actual like solo RPG on one of these streams? Because if y'all are, I'll give it a shot. I'll even take suggestions if y'all have one in mind that you think you actually like me to see. Otherwise, you know, there are options and I'm looking through them. Because I've been thinking about this, but at the same time, I want to know, is there interest out there in something like that? I'd be intrigued, not super familiar with solo RPG. Well, exactly. So at least there is some intrigue, some interest to see what it's about. So yeah, exactly. And I haven't really done a lot of it myself either. Even though I have written one, as I admitted not that long ago, just because I wrote it doesn't mean I played it. So we'll see. I keep hearing good things about them. I want to try some out. You know, I have the time. Let's see. The fair folk, intelligent monsters that live in the wild. The 5 maidens, the incarnate of the stars. Mercury, maiden of journey. Venus, maiden of serenity. Mars, maiden of battles. Jupiter, maiden of secrets. And Saturn, maiden of endings. They are the patrons of the sidereal exalted, and also, I think, match up with the members with the Sailor Moon crew fairly well. Ghost is an undead shade that is the lingering higher soul of a human. A hungry ghost is a monstrous undead creature that is the lingering lower soul of a human. A god is a spirit that holds a purview over some part of creation, from an individual river to the concept of war. They are immaterial beings. The Great Curse, capital G, capital C, an ancient curse levied on the exalted for their defiance against the makers of the world. Interesting. Hearthstone, a magical gem created by a domain or a manse. The Immaculate Order, the realm's state religion, which controls the worship of spirits and prosecutes the wild hunt against anathema. Celestial Incarnate, the gods who ruled in Yushan and rebelled against their makers, the unconquered sun, Luna, and the 5 maidens. Luna, the shape-shifting incarnate of the moon, whose blessing empowers the lunar exalted, and also, I believe, canonically is Sailor Moon. Magical materials, magical metals, or stone often used in making artifacts. Malpheus, hell, made of the twisted bodies of the Yozis, the defeated titans who made the world. Residence of demons. A manse is a domain transformed into a livable magical fortress, base, or residence, which produces a hearthstone. A mote is a game term for an abstract unit of essence. Okay, so essence is measured in motes, charms have a cost in motes. Cool, solid game system. The realm, the ruling empire in the Age of Sorrows, which is, as we defined earlier, the age we're in, dominated by the dragon-blooded houses of the Scarlet Dynasty, founded by the Scarlet Empress. The Shadowland, liminal place where the underworld bleeds into creation. Sorcery, world-shaping magic, capable of vast, enduring feats, requires will, which we'll see shortly. Spirit, a kind of supernatural being, including gods, elementals, ghosts, and demons. Chat, there are also lots of modern Exalted homebrew hacks that add the World of Darkness connection back again. Frostgrave, Stargrave, and Mythic GM Emulator are great solo systems. So yeah, I've heard of Mythic. Actually, not heard. I actually own a PDF copy of Mythic GM Emulator. I haven't taken a proper look at it. I picked it up, and I haven't sat down to look at it. So that's actually one that I could actually take a look at on stream and possibly play. So thanks for the heads up. I've heard good things about Mythic GM Emulator. So I do. That's why I picked up a copy, right? I hadn't heard of Frostgrave or Stargrave, but I will check them out. I have seen people playing some variations of like Ironsworn, I think it's called. I always thought Ironsworn was like a full game, but I've seen people doing some solo of it, and I want to look into that as well. Let's see here. The Unconquered Sun, the Incarnate of the Sun, King of Heaven and God of Virtue, who empowers the soul or Exalted. The Underworld, the Realm of the Dead, Home of Ghosts, including the Death Lords. Will is the power to shape sorcery, which requires rituals to attain. Cool. So advanced powers, basically. The Wild is the formless chaos surrounding creation, home of the fair folk. The Wild Hunt is an institution of the Immaculate Order, dedicated to the eradication of anathema. The Yozi are the defeated titans who reside in Malpheus. Demons arise from the Yozis. And finally, Yushan, heaven, home of the celestial bureaucracy, which assigns jobs and roles to gods in the sidereal Exalted. So there is definitely a sort of, I don't want to use the word Orientalist, but there is a vibe, right? Like there is definitely it's less that it's more of an anime vibe, right? It is fantasy, it is high fantasy, but high fantasy with what feels like call-outs to more Eastern sources. I mean, not just in the art, right? But like I'm thinking anime, I'm thinking cultivation stories, I'm thinking stuff like that, right? It can be done solo. So I said, is that Ironsworn you mean? I think Ironsworn is like Ironsworn, and Starsworn is like a version of it, something like that. But yeah, like okay, so it's a full game that can be done solo. It's not a full just solo on its own. Good to know. Inspirational media. All right, we'll skip over most of this. I'm just going to look at the titles rather than read the whole thing. But let's see. So the Iliad is a classic. Kill 6 Billion Demons. Who doesn't love that? Also, the Kill 6 Billion Demons guy is having like a moment. Like, I checked, and the other day, like, half of the drive-through RPG top 10 were, like, things that he had either made or worked on. So, like, that guy's, like, kind of having a moment in the tabletop RPG industry. Ironsworn is also popular. Great rules. Okay, cool. So, I've got a lot of options to look at. And like I said, starting middle of next month, I'm probably going to be doing a lot more streaming than I'm doing now. So like I said, that's why I'm looking for material, right? I'm looking for content, man. I'm looking for content. Hey, Sailor Moon! Aha! I knew I smelled. I heard it when I said it. I knew I sensed some Sailor Moon influence in there. You cannot tell me that the Five Maidens are not some kind, and Luna are not some kind of call out to Sailor Moon. I knew it. I'm justified. Completely justified. The Dandelion Dynasty series, Silkpunk Fantasy by Ken Liu, Grave of Empires trilogy by Sam Sykes. Oh man. I actually no. Sam Sykes was was fairly solid, if I remember correctly, wasn't he? I think his friends ended up like he was friends with another author, but I think Sam Sykes was solid. So if you haven't, this is one of the ones that I have read. If you haven't read the Grave of Empires trilogy, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's basically a D&D game turned into like with all the irreverence and all the it's a lot of wit, a lot of horror. It goes places. It follows like these really well-established characters. It makes you care about these assholes. It's great. I loved the Grave of Empires trilogy by Sam Sykes. Highly recommended. 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin. I actually have read this. Is excellent. Masquerade series by Seth Dickinson. Stormlight Archive series by Brandon Sanderson. Now let's be honest. If you want to play Stormlight Archive, there is now the Cosmere RPG, which another Kickstarter that oh man, that shit kicked off after I lost my job, and after I got laid off, and I could not in good conscience give them the amount of money that I wanted to give them, or in fact any money, because I needed to eat. Like, look, man, all this stuff is like from Kickstarters and stuff that I backed before I got laid off. All of you game creators out there, I love you with all my heart. Look at what I'm doing. Look at what I'm doing with my free time. I cannot afford your shit. Not yet. Not yet. But I'll get to it. Keep putting shit out. I'm just sad that I cannot. There's so many good games coming out and I cannot back any of them right now. Frustration. Anyway, let's continue. Point is, Stormlight Archive is amazing. Next book is coming out soon. Highly recommended. Brandon Sanderson does not need my fucking help to sell more books, and yet here I am telling you to read the Stormlight Archive. Honestly, it's also kind of having a moment. I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple more years we're actually seeing like TV series or movies or stuff based on the world. So if you don't want to read it and you just want to wait for the inevitably flawed adaptations, sure, go for it. Also, if you don't like reading, the audiobooks are amazing. It's only like 80 hours each. Epic fantasy. I mean, look, to be fair, if you are doing the Audible thing and you got like a subscription and you're doing like credits, right? The Brandon Sanderson books, the Stormlight Archive books, and almost anything he's written, Mistborn is getting adapted. True, exactly. Not for Stormlight yet. But it will. Oh, it's coming. Oh, Lord, it's coming. I believe it. But yeah, Mistborn is getting adapted. Mistborn is also amazing. But what I'm saying is like all these books, all these epic fantasy books, Brandon makes big books, especially Stormlight Archive books, right? These are books that are like, you'll see audiobooks on Audible and they'll be like, oh, it's an 8-hour book, it's a 10-hour book, 12-hour book. And you're like, oh, cool, that's a solid credit, No. These books, for one credit, and you're getting 40, 50 plus hours of just absolutely awesome audio. So like, if you must use Audible, you wish you shouldn't use Libro FM, but if you must use Audible, like being a fan of epic fantasy is the way to get the most bang for your buck on Audible credits, is what I'm saying, in terms of just raw amount of hours and entertainment per money invested. Had to catch up on Stormlight. Just wanted him to finish so I can bitch. Dude, he's coming out with the 5th book and there are 10 of them. If you're gonna wait for him to finish, I mean, you can't. It's fair, but it's a little bit like waiting for Oda to finish the One Piece in order to start reading it. Like, it's gonna take you so long anyway, you might as well start reading now. Side rails, as always. Chinese Ghost Story, fuck yeah, I love that movie. Detective D and the Mystery of the Phantom Flame, I actually know that one, it's good. The Four, I remember this one as well. The Princess in 2022, no, this one I haven't seen, I'll have to check it out. Television, Demon Slayer, the anime? Yes. Cool. Okay, so Demon Slayer is a good inspiration. Interesting. Okay, cool. Mobile Suit Gundam, Iron Blooded Orphans, really solid, really good. Scrapped Princess, I don't remember that one. I'll have to check it out. Seirei no Moribito, yes, I know this one. She-Ra and the Princess of Power, fuck yeah, that was good. And Thunderbolt Fantasy is amazing. Have nothing but good things to say on that. Love all these. So all these inspirational medias I'm a big fan of. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, solid. Indivisible, I don't remember this one. I'll have to check that one out. Sounds familiar. And that's it. Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. We are finally into the story. Now, I'm not going to just read everything here. We're going to kind of go over it real quick. Because I don't have the throat. I heard it. I heard it when I said it. Let's just kind of get a general idea here. The realm is complicated. Yes, yes. Welcome to creation, the world and its making. I mean, maybe I do need to read it, right? It's only 20 pages, but it's still a lot. We'll skip through it as best we can, folks. Let's skip through it as best we can. Chapter is a guide to creation. Exalted's unique setting. It gives an overview on creation's history as well as key locations in which storytellers may want to set their games or from which player characters might hail. So let's see. Creation is a world of epic fashions, heroism, blah, 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 blah. World of miracles, countless gods, elementals, yeah, sure, high magic, yada, yada, yada. The Exalted stand between the worlds of spirit and mortal for all their power. By the way, if any of the game writers or creators have somehow stumbled upon this stream, apologies. My yada, yada, yada-ing is not meant to in any way, shape, or form dismiss your work. I'm just not here to read word for word all of it, right? I'm trying to get vibes on it. I strongly recommend anybody who likes this game, please pick it up. Give the folks that made it money. So it's not dismissive. It's just that I'm not gonna read every word out. If somebody does, however, somehow just love the sound of my voice so much that you want me to narrate your your rule book. Creation is a world of epic passions, heroism, and betrayal. It is the stage for the legends of the Exalted, mortals raised up and granted phenomenal power as the chosen of the gods. See, if you want me to do that for your 400-page book, hit me up. Hit me up. Dan at uncivilized.games. Hit me up. Make me an offer. Sure. In the meantime, though, I'm a yada yada through it, right? Or at least I will yada yada through it when we get back from ads. Oh, God damn it. I completely exited the thing. When we get back from ads, it's that time. I'm seeing the alert on my screen. NPR is calling for an interview. I wish, my friend, I wish. All right, ads should be over, and that means you get me back on your screen. Sorry about that. All right. The Exalted. Hey, wait. World of miracles, countless gods, elementals, yada yadas, using their power to extort wealth, service, and worship. It is a place where mortal kingdoms rise and fall, drawing strength from wealth, labor, human cunning, and stolen magic. The Exalted stand between the worlds of spirit and mortal for all their power. The Exalted are undeniably human, subject to all the joys and pains humanity brings with it. With their heroism and villainy, they may save creation from its many enemies, or see it utterly destroyed. It's the origin of the Exalted. Okay, let's at least get this. The origin, where do the Exalted come from? What are these guys? What are these folks? Where we get these guys? The Exalted are the chosen of the gods, imbued with their divine patron's own essence, capital E essence. This power, the gift of exaltation, magnifies their talents many times over and grants them miraculous abilities to rival and even surpass the gods. Each Exalt is the heir to a grand and terrible legacy left by the Exalted of ages past, but each also has the freedom to write their own legend upon the world. The Exalted were created in an act of rebellion. The greatest of the gods sought to overthrow their creators, for the ancient titans were cruel, capricious, and dangerous to the very world they had made. Creation was a plaything to them, and the lives of all the creatures in the world were pieces in their games, to be discarded or destroyed on a whim. Because the gods were bound not to harm their titanic creators, they instead gifted power to mortal heroes who became the first Exalts. This was the divine revolution, wherein the Exalted and their armies overthrew the Titans in battles that leveled mountains and drained seas. The Exalted managed the unthinkable by slaying their otherwise immortal foes. For fear of death and the Exalted who brought it, the surviving Titans were sealed away in an unbreakable prison for all eternity. At the end of the revolution, the gods took their master's place in Yushan and rewarded their Exalted champions with dominion over all creation. The individual types of Exalted are detailed in Chapter 2, beginning on page 48. Solid. Okay. The Exalted host, little sidebar here. The first Exalted were made in service of a war, each with their part to play. The numerous dragon-blooded, chosen of the 5 elemental dragons, filled the upper ranks of this army over countless mortals. Clear-eyed sidereals, chosen of the maidens of fate, strategized and advised. Infinitely adaptable lunars, chosen of Luna, flitted from battle to encampment as irregulars and saboteurs. The solars, chosen of the unconquered sun, led them all, whether from the pulpit or the vanguard. All right, so we're saying that all the different types of Exalted, each one has had a particular purpose in the original. Sorry, got an email. No, nothing that I need to worry about. No, cool. So each type of Exalted was specifically created to fill a role in a war. That was their original purpose. They were soldiers in a war. Let's keep that in mind, right? Let's see. First age, initially created for war. Hey, first sentence we see is in fact the Exalted are not just warriors. They are priests and god kings whose words can inspire and uplift millions or calm the fiercest battle. They are sages and sorcerers capable of building palaces of living glass and raising entire cities into the sky. They are spies and saboteurs, thieves and tricksters, the living embodiments of cunning and secrecy. They are emissaries between the world of mortal and spirit, peacemakers, lawgivers whose light can guide empires to greatness or ruin. Okay. So for folks like good friend of me, Billy, who also stars alongside me in, of course, the everybody's favorite long-running tabletop RPG actual play podcast, which I have just linked on chat. Look at that, smooth. But Billy, dear friend of everyone here, he likes to play regular schmoes. Regular guys. I just took your job. You gotta be on point, buddy. You gotta be on point. Because I'm just getting better every day. I'm getting better every goddamn day. Anyway, point is, Billy likes to play. Going login. Hey, look, Billy likes to play normal guys, just regular schmoes. This is not the game. It appears, right? We're being presented like these guys you were meant to be gods, or you were meant to take down gods, right? But you are an Exalted. It's in the name. You are Exalted. You are not just some schmo, right? Or am I about to be proven wrong? Let us see. But definitely, I mean, it fits my vibe. I like this. I like playing these larger than life like stories. This is my vibe 100%. So I'm on board. But something to keep in mind, right? Already interested in the solars, however spelled. Yep, that is in fact how you spell them. And we'll learn about them soon in Chapter 2, page 48. Billy can be a gentleman who was an average Joe and got roped into a different reality as his was snipped from fate as he was transposed into the active, correct timeline. Yeah, no, I mean, like, look, I'd have to trick Billy into playing this, and he'd still try and figure out, like, how can I make my guy underpowered? How can I make my guy as weak as possible? Because that's just how he do. It's how he do. I kid, not always, but sometimes. All right, cool. So, with these seemingly infinite talents, Exalted built an era of splendor known as the First Stage, time of beauty and bounty. Exalted tamed the wild land of creation, thousands of years. Exalted reigned over the world, ruling from the paradise city of Meru, raising up kingdoms of nations, yada, yada. Okay, great times. The Exalted rocked. Everything was perfect. Let's just move right on to how to play them, right? Nothing could possibly go wrong. The other 19 pages, I don't know why we included them, because we created the Exalted took down the Titans, and then the Exalted were given dominion over the flat earth, and now they rule over the flat earth forever. It's great. Great, right? End of story? Let's see. But, oh no. Beneath the shimmer of the First Stage, however, a ravening darkness crept slowly into the hearts of the Exalted. The time of wonders was also a time of deceit and pride, vanity and bravado, excess and abandon. Oh no. There's 19 more pages because East Asian version of Rome took over. All right. Let's see. The Great Curse. In the last days of the divine devolution, the divine revolution, the ancients planted the seeds of the revenge with their dying breath. Thanks for that one, Potato. With their dying breaths, those who were slain in the rebellion levied a powerful curse upon the gods. That is how they do. That death curses do be a thing. One that rebounded on their exalted champions instead. This great curse exists in every Exalt, tempting them to give into wickedness and indulge their vices. Hey chat, it's me, the devil, here to tempt you to do sin. Where were we? Conquer and corrupt, vent the rage on creation and its people. In the halcyon days of the First Stage, the Great Curse stoked paranoia and mistrust, fueled an unquenchable thirst for conquest, and made the Exalted callous to the needs of mere mortals. The Great Curse drove the Exalted to feats of rage, domination, and pride as they imposed their burning will upon a world that had no defense against them. In the throes of the Great Curse, the Exalted of the First Stage smote their enemies with merciless sorcery, cast aside those they loved and trusted, or struck desperate bargains for power and knowledge with creation's deadliest enemies. The cruel truth of the Great Curse is that despite its power and impact, it remains a secret, although its effects are still felt to this day in the hubris of the Exalted. All attribute the agonies so common to Exalted of every kind to mere human frailty. All right, so in a nutshell, with great power comes a great irresponsibility. The Second Age. Wait. Let me move the book here. Here we go. The Second Age. For fear of the Solars, whose power made possible the greatest atrocities of the Great Curse, the Sidereals sought the aid of dragon-blooded generals and other potent allies to orchestrate a massacre known as the Usurpation. With great powers comes a limit break and a moment where your mind snaps. Yeah, checks out. Before the solar exaltations could empower their next incarnations, they were sealed away, lost to the world for millennia. A handful of solars escaped their binding, only to find themselves creation's greatest fugitives, hunted across centuries and successive incarnations by both the dragon-blooded and sidereals. The First Age ended as it began, with betrayal and bloodshed. In the wake of the usurpation, the dragon-blooded claimed dominion over the world. The lunar Exalted came together as the Silver Pact and built empires of their own, drawing a line in the sand the dragon-blooded could not cross. Thus began the Second Age. It was a time of conquest and consolidation. The Lunars made war with the dragon-blooded from without, while internal strife haunted them from within. The great wonders of the First Age fell to sabotage or disrepair. Without their solar creators to tend to them, creation's defenses began to falter. Into this dark and bloody time came the Great Contagion, a plague so deadly that it killed 9 out of every 10 living creatures, flora and fauna alike. People and animals died by the millions, and entire cities were transformed into open graves. Invasion followed the Great Contagion. The fair folk rode into creation from their wild strongholds, preying on the deceased survivors without mercy. Creation survived only by the iron will of a humble dragon-blooded officer. She seized control of ancient weapons laid down in the First Age and, with their terrible power, banished the invaders back to the wild. In the wake of her victory, she crowned herself the Scarlet Empress and founded her realm. Let's see. I feel like it would be fun to play a character who knows about the curse, but he sounds like a conspiracy theorist and the other characters treat him like it. Yes. That would be kind of hilarious. The Psychotic Potato, we survived the Black Plague. What's this one gonna do? Right. The realm and its reach. Thousands of kingdoms, tribes, and city-states exist across creation, but none is so vast or so powerful as the realm. It spans the length and breadth of the massive Blessed Isle, a land of unmatched bounty and security. From there, its reach extends throughout the 8 directions of creation, through satrapies and vassal states that pay tribute to the realm for the privilege of their continued existence. Even those kingdoms beyond its rule are not beyond its influence, for the realm holds massive military and economic might, which it uses to crush rivals, upstarts, and rebels. For more than 700 years, the realm was governed by the Scarlet Empress and her great houses. The powerful clans descended from her consorts and favored children. The word of the Empress was law throughout her empire, giving her the power to topple nations and shape the fortunes of millions to suit her will. She ruled her realm for centuries, pitting its many powers against one another to ensure none could amass the strength needed to challenge her authority. But now, the Scarlet Empress has disappeared. None know where she has gone or if she still lives. A tenuous peace exists among the great houses as they size one another up, ready to seize the throne if the opportunity arises. The realm, long the greatest power of creation, now stands at the edge of a civil war, one that threatens the strength and stability of the dragon-blooded empire. The return of the Solars. With creation at the brink of disaster, a new age of heroes has begun. For the first time since the usurpation, an eclipse darkened the midday sky. The Solar Exalted have begun to incarnate en masse, freed from whatever prison kept them locked away. This new generation of Solar Exalted carries the light of hope into creation, bringing with it the promise of a first age reborn. But the Solars did not return to creation alone. In the dark heart of the underworld, ancient ghost kings known as the Death Lords have lifted up mortal champions as the Abyssal Exalted. In the prison city of Malpheus, the demon princes have anointed their own infernal Exalted, filled with the fury of hell itself. Both were crafted from stolen solar exaltations, corrupted to serve their new sinister purposes. Creation will not welcome the return of the Solars and the rise of their wicked cousins. For centuries, the immaculate philosophy of the dragon-blooded has demonized most other Exalted as anathema, heretics who steal power from the gods. Bands of dragon-blooded warriors, wise immaculate monks, and seasoned soldiers track down and slay anathema in a tradition known as the Wild Hunt. Even in its current state, the realm and its nobles hold fast this tradition, for they know a single rogue exalt can alter the destiny of entire nations. Yes, the Edgelords. Hey! Every age needs its edgelords to propel it forward. The time of tumult, a tumultuous time, if you will. The realm's instability has created countless opportunities for enterprising merchant princes and warlords to extend their influence. Rogue gods, once cowed in submission by the dragon-blooded, now rule openly over mortals or extort worship from them in defiance of the laws of heaven and the realm alike. Exalted heroes of every stripe are seizing the opportunity to build power and prestige. Lunar heroes ready their nations for war. Sidereal power brokers work to mend the world's increasingly snarled fate. And newly exalted solars take their first steps into a world that will shake at their passing. This is creation as it stands today. A land where ancient wonders slumber, calling out to their long-lost masters from secret caches and dusty tombs. It is a place where the greatest empire in the world, one built on betrayal and slaughter, teeters at the edge of a bloody war among kin. It is an age of sorrow and struggle, where the return of the solar exalted may rekindle the light of hope in exalted heroes across the world, or doom all life to an era of unending tragedy. Cool. So now we're caught up to modern day. What are the other 8 and 17 pages about? Well, we'll get to this shortly, but let's see what the sidebar up here is. The ranks of the Incarnate. The leaders of the divine. Oh, there we go. The leaders of the divine revolution and patrons of the Exalted rest in Yushan, the heavenly city, ruling creation and eternally enjoying the spoils of their victory. There are hundreds of thousands of lesser gods who serve under the Most High with portfolios great and small. The 5 Madians are Mercury, Maiden of Journeys, Venus, Maiden of Serenity, blah, 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 blah. We read all of those. Patrons of the Sidereal Exalted, they serve as overseers of fate and destiny, of what will and must come to pass. They keep their own counsel on these matters. Luna is a force all their own, god of night, luck, iconoclasm, and change. A trickster, they venture forth from heaven more than any other, though every Incarnate has mastered the trick of being in many places at once. Every Lunar Exalted is personally greeted by Luna, welcoming them into the ranks of the chosen. The unconquered sun is the greatest of the Incarnate, the god of virtue and will, war and enlightenment, and supreme excellence. He is the king of heaven, the patron of the solar exalted, and holds the exigence, the divine flame that allows lesser gods to exalt their own champions. In the waning days of the first age, his chosen offended him, and he turned his face from creation as they were killed. Now he has turned back. The 5 elemental dragons are not accorded among the ranks of the Incarnate, nor are they properly gods, though as the foremost children of Gaia, titan of creation, they are considered peers. Patrons of the dragon-blooded, they imbued the blood of their champions with the power of perpetual exaltation. The Immaculate Order venerates the Immaculate Dragons as incarnations of the elemental dragons, the apotheosis of spiritual development, and the lords of creation. The Immaculate Dragons are Mela, air, Pasiap, earth, Hestia, fire, Danad, water, and Sextus Gilis, wood. After the Divine Revolution, the dragons retreated to the elemental poles at the distant corners of creation to slumber and reinforce the world. Gaia herself has largely left creation, though a fragment of the Titan remains behind to be with Luna, her beloved. Aw. Unwritten heroes, histories, and their deeds. The Solars, Lunars, Sidereals, and Dragon-Blooded were made to fight the Divine Revolution, but other Exalted have been created in the ages since. All have made their mark on creation's history, great or small, though often in mysterious, subtle, or hidden ways. The Exigents, champions chosen by lesser gods throughout creation, have always been as varied as their patrons, allying themselves with other Exalted, or forging their own legends throughout both the First and Second Age. Since the return of the Solars, the ranks of the Exigents have swelled as gods the world over capitalize on this moment of unrivaled potential. The enigmatic Liminals first emerged from the underworld in the Second Age to enforce the laws of death, obscuring their exploits from the eyes of the living. A scattering of alchemical exalts have been active throughout creation's history in legends of holy automata made from clay and clad in the 6 magical materials: though their origins as the chosen of the great maker are unknown to all but the most devoted sages. Finally, the seemingly inexplicable Getimians have fought a guerrilla war against heaven for 50 years, working to undermine the sidereals and gods alike. Cool. All right. I support shipping the moon and the earth. Right. So do I. So do I. Me. Just all they did was just a tiny, like, hey, Gaia, the Titan of Earth, left a little bit of herself to be with her beloved Luna. That's all we know. And we're like, cool, 100%, ship it. Greatest relationship ever. Done. Goal. Hashtag relationship goals. All right, okay, so now we're actually going to skip. I'm not going to talk about the specific places in creation. But we got a really good general history up to the modern day. Cool, just a couple of pages. And we'll look at a few of the sidebars, I think. Like, let's see, slavery in creation. Interesting, actually. Good. So there's a sidebar specifically addressing slavery. That's curious. Let's see. The enslavement and mass exploitation of people is one of the great evils in this world or any other. With any discussion or portrayal of slavery at your table, the most important consideration is the feelings of the other players in your group. Exalted aspires to be inclusive and welcoming to all. Talk with your group before portraying slavery at the gaming table and consider whether this topic falls behind your lines or veils. Reliance on slavery, on enslaved people for labor, whether war captives, indentured servitude, serfdom, janissary systems, or chattel slavery is present in some form across much of creation. Like many such systems in antiquity, slavery is most often an economic or social condition rather than a racial one. Revolutionary reform movements also exist across creation, and supporting abolition is an appropriate character motivation. Observing the human costs of exploitative hierarchy and rejecting oppressive systems are part of Exalted's themes. Beyond all else, stories in Exalted should never glorify slavery. So interesting, because it is a hard line to toe sometimes in games, right? Because look, slavery was and is real in our real world, and we know how and why it existed, continues to exist, etc., etc. So it does make sense, especially with the world that we're presented here, that yeah, like, you know, there are bad people, there are economic reasons, you know, etc., etc. But at the same time, like, well, yeah, but you don't want to glorify it. You know, if you must present it, you know, like, I like that they are addressing that. So cool. And also, yeah, shout out to Lines and Veils and the page number. Like, have you seen me have to go like, where's that defined? Where's the page? No, very little of that. We got a whole bunch of definitions early on, and that has actually kept me from having to constantly go like, what the fuck is a liminal? You know, like I sometimes do, like a complete dumbass. Haven't had to do that because the book is doing great design. Cool. So cool, they're addressing that. Inspirations. The realm is meant to be an archetypal empire, and hardly any location in creation is completely out of its grasp. Much like the Qin dynasty China, the realm served one ruler in a legalistic system, and without her, institutions vie for dominance and struggle to continue in any meaningful way. The realm's reach, patriarch clans, and politicking are much like early imperial Rome, as is their martial character and sense of civic virtue. The satrapial system used by the Scarlet Dynasty to control much of the world is like that of Achaemenid Persia? I guess Achaemenid. Persia under Cyrus on paper, but with strong aspects and accompanying condemnation for Imperial Britain's colonial systems. Cool. Okay, so we get this is perfect, because in sort of real world terms, now we have this is the vibe. This is what we're going for. So if we were to read all of this, this is what inspired all of that. So we have some level of vibes. Onyx Path is pretty solid, pretty much everything. They have been. I'm a fan, honestly. And then this is just places: the Blessed Isle, the Untethered Wilds, and this is cool. Like you would want to read this, right? If you're gonna play this game, you would want to read this. I'm skipping over it because, again, after saying that I'm not going to read everything, and then I proceeded to read word for word for multiple pages. So no. But I do like this, that in each section they tell you a little bit about the people, and they give you like some example character concepts. They give you some archetypes for people from that area. That's cool. I like that. I like that they help you form where your character is going to be from, the inspirations for each one. Look at that. For example, so this is the inspiration for the Empire. Then we've got, this is the North, so Whitewall, the inspiration for Whitewall. Stylistically, the Kievan Rus and Slavic fairy tales offer inspiration for people on the culture of Whitewall, living in the shadow of the wild and possessed of a dark and fatalistic sense of humor. The imperial free cities of the Holy Roman Empire provide aesthetic ideas for the city itself. Cool, we got some ideas on how to base this. The Gethsemane, the underground cities of Cappadocia, like Kaimakli or Derinkiu, or the Ellora caves in Maharashtra, India. Boy, this really wants to trip me up, and it's doing a good job. Offer inspiration for Gethsemane. The gardens are an engineering marvel, not unlike the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, while the three temples evoke the great three Gelug monasteries, Ganden, Sera, and Drepung, of Tibetan Buddhism. Cool. The Ice Walker tribes, nomadic peoples like the Mongols or Sami, offer inspiration for the Ice Walkers. As the capital of the Bulls' nascent empire, early Kambalik provides a model for the Plenilun. The Mongol Empire and the Yuan dynasty of China offer some ideas of the divisions of the Bulls' empire. The Hanseatic League is a good basis for the Salt Spire League. Cool. They're giving you real-world references for things that you can work with to get a grip for something. Really, like, exactly. Applause. In fact, you know what? Yeah. Overall, we really like what they're doing here, because it's giving you some real-world context that you can dig into and use for inspiration. I really like that. And again, it's a single paragraph gives you the sense of it. Yeah, I really love what they're doing here. There are 100 kingdoms, but this one is mine. The diversity of the 100 kingdoms intentionally leaves space for storytellers to define them at the table. Perfect. Beautiful. Exactly. You want a part of your game world that is sort of like left up, there's a natural space for players and GMs to insert, like, their own part. So I love that. Whether you're looking for a principality that fits your character's origin story, a princely patron for your PCs, or lands for your circle to conquer, the 100 Kingdoms can offer the right land for you. The 100 Kingdoms can also easily offer the kind of story where wandering heroes appear in a new land for each adventure. Cool. Love that that exists. More places. The south. So we've got the south, Chiaroscuro. The Delzan are inspired by the Mongols and the pre-Islamic tribes of the Arabian Peninsula. The city itself draws inspiration from Kunkanate, Baghdad, but also presents the seeming wonders of a ruined modern-day metropolis, replete with shattered skyscrapers of adamant glass. Fascinating. Gem and the Trovo cities reflect the cultural diversity of West Africa, drawing particularly from the Songhai Empire. Songhai Empire. The Varang city-states. Varang cultural inspiration comes largely from ancient Mesopotamia and pre-colonial India, with the regimented architecture, scientific instruments, and clock-making skill of 17th century Europe. Their interest in astrology is likewise a mix of Babylonian and Vedic influence. Excellent. And we still got more. We've still got so many more to go for, and I cannot wait to show all of you them. Hey, hey, hey. Welcome back, folks. All right, we continue. We've got, what is it? Now we've got, we saw this, the West. We've got Wu Jian, whose inspirations are the structure of Wu Jian visually resembles an ancient incarnation of Kowloon Walled City in Hong Kong and includes rival gangs fighting one another in a similar fashion to the Choi Lai Fu and Wing Chun martial rivalries. The pirate city of Tortuga offers a lawless and unsavory nautical flavor for the island's character. Ooh, oh, Wu Jian sounds like fun. Renaissance Venice, for the Skullstone Archipelago, Renaissance Venice's focus on lineage, the separation of the nobility from the common people, and close ties between trade, espionage, and foreign policy work as great thematic touchstones for Skullstone. For visual inspiration, look to Mycenaean and Minoan architecture and fashion, though most constructs on Skullstone use volcanic stone. The Call. The shrine cities establish a sense of ancient wonder, evoking construction like the Harappan civilization of the Indus Valley or early Japanese architecture. Maori or other Polynesian cultures can provide inspiration for the Callborn. Now the Western locations, other realms, the Wild and the Fairfolk. Now look, I'm excited about the Fairfolk. The Fairfolk have very much been presented as antagonists in this game, which is fair. Apparently they are outsiders from the Wild. But I do, look, here. I'm gonna pull this off the wall for a second, just to show you how much of a, because I could say, I could do something like, you know, pull out my much loved copy, and you can tell it's taken a beating. Oh man, I feel bad about what I've done to this poor book, because this is like the deluxe edition, and look how beat up it is. You could call that well loved, honestly. It was my well loved copy of Changeling 20th anniversary edition, big old chonker book. And on all the money I spent on that, right? And I could point at that and go like, see, I'm a real Changeling fan. I love me some Fae. But that's not my big claim to fame. It was framed here. I'm gonna put it here. You see that? That is a Tony DiTerlizzi original, not a print. This is the original watercolor, the original piece of art. You see that up there, see? The original piece of art by Tony DiTerlizzi. You can see here, Advantage Mechanical Knack. This is original Changeling the Dreaming art from Tony DiTerlizzi. And it's not even from the main book itself. The source of this, Advantage Mechanical Knack, this is art that he created for one of the cards in the Changeling the Dreaming collectible card game. That is the level of just absolute specificity. All right, the level of that is like the thing. That is, you know, your mother always says a pristine book has no purpose. Exactly. And so this book has clearly served a purpose. Well loved. It's you know, I'm a fan. Point is, I like fairies, all right? I'm a fan of the Wild, the Fae, and all that stuff. I mean, the Fae analog, make them as antagonistic as you want, just don't snort their bones. All right, I'm actually going to read this. I'm actually going to read. I'm curious. I'm real curious what they're doing with the Wild. Let's see. Other realms. The worlds of creation borders on other, more alien realms. Some realms were hidden away in secret, while others are as vast as creation and familiar even to mortals. The Wild. Creation is an island of stability in an infinite sea of chaos. During the First Age, the Solar Exalted expanded creation's shores by forging chaos into reality, then maintained their new borders with order-affirming practices. These borders weakened over centuries without solar governance, then broke entirely thanks to massive depopulation during a plague called the Great Contagion. Chaos flooded inward, and creation suffered a grand invasion led by the fair folk. Where the armies of chaos marched, the land grew wild, and the laws of creation broke down. So they're basically like eldritch dangers here. Once the Scarlet Empress defeated this invasion, vast stretches of creation still bore Chaos's corruption. These wild lands are mutated and surreal, corrupting any creation native who stays too long. In border marches closest to stable reality, creatures and communities gradually develop strange features and idiosyncrasies, but the world is largely stable. In middle marches, bizarre prodigies and mutations develop over weeks, and surreal landscapes shift with the whims and intrigues of the fair folk. Creatures too strange and vast for worldly shapes roam the deep wild, where creation's natives transform rapidly and impossible worldscapes arise from chaos. The other reason I'm excited as I'm reading this is because there was that old, right, like the first edition connection to World of Darkness. So they're describing, in a sense, the close dreaming, the near dreaming, far dreaming, and deep dreaming here as well. Like they call it the wild, it's kind of like the dreaming here. The fair folk, sometimes called Raksha by those in creation, the Fey princes of the wild accept fair folk as an acknowledgement of their predatory grace. The fair folk are wild-born entities that mimic the forms and behaviors of creation natives. They're powerful, capricious, and achingly glamorous. I see what you did there. I see what you did there with that word. Creatures that feed upon dreams and passions. The fair folk slowly wither and calcify outside the wild. They must feast on the passions of creation's natives to sustain themselves. Some fair folk cultivate symbiotic relationships with human communities, but most Fey princes don't see the point. Instead, they hunt, lure, or purchase mortals and carve emotions from souls with thoughtless cruelty. Soul-eaten mortals are numb, pliable, and valuable to human slavers, so ruthless merchant princes often strike deals with fair folk courts. Oh, that's fucked up. Let's see here, up here. Many of the aristocratic Fae are inhumanly strong, beautiful, and clever, especially in their areas of expertise. Lavish in wealth and physical comforts, the lords obsess over rivalries, games, and mortals they wish to possess. When the fair folk aren't raiding mortal settlements, they wager priceless treasures on games of chance and offer bargains too good for any mortal to pass up. They're cruelly scrupulous, following customs and expecting courtesies rarely explained to human guests. The fair folk take on forms appropriate to the local wild. In the east, Fae take on aspects of beasts and nature, marching grand armies into populated lands and silently abducting stray mortals in the jungle. In the south, they stalk the desert as black lions and horseback raiders, their bloodthirst matched by their fascination with clever riddles and puzzles. In the west, needle-fanged merfolk drag mortals beneath the bloody waves, while masked islanders put trespassers through terrible ritual ordeals. And in the north, fur-clad sleigh riders organize grand hunts for unfortunate mortals, while enticing snow dolls offer warmth in coldest winter. Other Fae. Though the fair folk consider themselves natural rulers of the wild, the children of chaos are variable beyond categorization. Mortals call the many twisted creatures that serve the fair folk as foot soldiers and manual laborers hobgoblins, for their gnarled and elementally derived means. Monstrous Hanya prey on other Fae and have largely driven the fair folk from the deep wild. The Hanya are most comfortable in the deep wild, making those chaotic places dangerous even for the fair folk. Mortals have few advantages over the Fae, but wild-born entities share a few weaknesses. Cold iron, is a common bane for many, tearing through Fae flesh and armor with ease. The fair folk cannot break their word, allowing the canny to trap them into promises and webs of obligation. Though they have far more experience in contracts than most creation-born. Modern cultures and creation pass this wisdom on through 1,000 different myths and stories. The wild also twists animals, peoples, and entire communities into new and terrible forms. Some suffer mutations, but otherwise live relatively normal lives, while less stable wild-born creatures like griffins and manticores can't reproduce naturally and may sicken and die if taken from lands touched by chaos. Cool. So there's this whole touches of like the Fae that I'm used to, but also like the wild kind of has a vibe of like the warp from Warhammer 40k, right? That it is naturally corrupting, it leaks into the world. There are creatures based on it. Like there's a. It feels like there's a connection there. Like there's some kind of parallels to something like the warp from Warhammer 40k, which I kind of dig what they're doing there. Let's see, and then Yushan, which is as we saw before, heaven itself, where the gods are, doorways to heaven, the incarnate, cool. Malpheus, that's hell, basically. That's hell in this game. When the Exalted over to the enemies of the gods, some fallen creators surrendered. As the price of their survival, the Exalted forced unbreakable oaths upon the deposed Titans to accept eternal imprisonment and exile from creation. The enemies of the gods became the Yozis, scarred and twisted echoes of their former titanic glory. The Exalted turned the Creator's king inside out and made of him the Yozis' prison. He is Malpheus, also called the Demon City, or simply Hell. As heaven teams with ranked and archived gods, Malpheus overflows with demons beyond counting. Malpheus is a brutal, clangorous place, and many locales within are not fit for mortal habitation without protection. No map could chart Malpheus, for the fallen king irregularly rages against the tortuous confines of his own brass body. In his turnings, massive buildings and city blocks sprout into being and just as easily crush and crash against each other. So, kind of like living in New York City right now. Sorry, I hope this is not coming through through the mic, but Jesus Christ, they're just they just laid down the giant metal planks, which means they'll be back tomorrow, won't they? Love. Thank you. Okay, good. Surprisingly, no, it's filtered out. Yeah, no. Look, NVIDIA broadcast is not perfect, but god damn, it's doing the Lord's work out there. Maybe once I don't have construction going on outside my window at all times, then maybe I'll be able to turn off NVIDIA broadcast. And I think I've also got the mics like built-in noise cancellation also turned on. But I also know that it's like that means it's compressing the hell out of my voice, and yet my voice is smooth as silk. It's amazing. But who knows? Maybe I'll be able to turn all that off and give y'all the full high quality experience. All right, Malpheus, demons. We like demons. I mean, we like that they're there in Malpheus. Cracks in the prison. How demons get out? The various Josies, the various big ones. Cool. These are some cool examples, actually. Look at this. Look, like She Who Lives in Her Name is a concentric mandala of 99,997 crystalline spheres, each filled with vivid white flame and each bearing a different name. Those who hear her whispered names join her hierarchical chorus and obsessively rebuild the world to match her perfect order. Yeah, these are some weird-ass demon kings. I love them. I love it. Ghosts, the underworld. Okay, let's look at the underworld real quick. The dead pass on into Lethe, the cycle of reincarnation, or at least they are meant to. But the enemies of the gods slain at the hands of the Exalted were beyond reincarnation. In dying, they broke death, becoming the corpse titans known as Neverborn. Aren't the Neverborn like a thing in like a werewolf? I think they were an umbral thing, but also more in Wraith the whatevering. There was a specific like type of like really dark thing at the bottom of the like the abyss itself. It was like the Neverborn, right? Like that same name, that same kind of concept. So like, yeah, I kind of do love that I'm getting these little ticks of like stuff that I remember from back in the day, from old World of Darkness. The underworld is a patchwork of half-remembered cultures, gloomy waterways, and Neverborn's horrific labyrinthine nightmares. Strange creatures exist there, such as the mysterious farriers, who offer guidance for trade, and vast undead behemoths like the corpse beast juggernaut that carries the castle of a death lord upon its back. Ghosts, some die at peace, already prepared to embrace death, embrace Leth, sorry. Those who hesitate or cling to life awaken in the underworld as ghosts. Ghosts leave their bodies and earthly hungers behind, so they crave memories, passions, and living worshippers to maintain their sense of purpose and identity. Some return to create, blah, 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 blah. Okay, ghosts are cool. Ghosts can grow powerful. The Shadowlands. Okay, that's where when the weight of death grows overwhelming in creation, when necrosis seeps into a battlefield's or charnel house's very essence, creation and underworld territories collapse into a contiguous shadowland. Ghosts are comfortable in a shadowland and can manifest there with relative ease. Though vegetation is often sparse and macabre, mortals in a shadowland can grow enough food to survive. Structures from both sides blend in on the collapse, leading to strange but ultimately habitable terrain. Those who can respire essence describe a shadowland's feel as oily and chilly, growing more so the closer one ventures into the underworld. A shadowland also brings dangers to creation, from alien entities to specters to abyssals. Anyone can enter a shadowland, but leaving one is trickier. In daytime, all exits lead to creation, while at night, they lead into the underworld. The further one gets from a shadowland, the less creations and the underworld's terrains match. Mortals can easily lose their way home. And finally, the realm of the Great Maker, one of the Titans, Autochton, king of all craftsmen, sided against his peers in the divine revolution and taught the incarnate the secret of exaltation. During the First Age, the Great Maker left creation, taking with him enough humans to create a world and civilization within himself, which residents call Autochtonia. Which again, I swear this was a realm that existed in old World of Darkness lore. A rare few alchemicals are scattered across creation even in the Second Age, the proofs of concept to convince the incarnate that the Exalted could be their champions. Some slumber, waiting for a signal that may never come. Others awaken in this age with no memory of their original purpose. Cool. All right, now finally, we're looking at our characters. How far along in the stream? We're almost 2 hours in. We're still like a good 10 minutes before the next ad break. Not too shabby. We're actually making, look at this. We got through what? Through 40, over 40 pages in the first 2 hours. Amazing. And we've actually had a couple of, side discussions, not as many as I sometimes get, but it helps when the game is not making you explode with rage every couple of pages. I think that's the difference. That's the difference that we've got here. Let's see here. So the Exalted. Now we're finally getting into the nitty and or the gritty of it. This chapter covers every playable Exalt type. These are the mighty champions of the gods, the heroes of creation, and most importantly, the people you play. There are 10 playable Exalt types: Abyssals, Alchemicals, Dragon-Blooded, Exigents, Getimians, Infernals, Liminals, Lunars, Sidereals, and Solars. Each has its own unique playstyle, granting the player access to Exalt-specific charms, which begin on page 217 and then keep going for pretty much the rest of the book. If this selection seems overwhelming, and this is the condensed version. This is the condensed version. Even in the condensed Exalted Essence version, they're like, hey, buddy, yeah, we know we're throwing a lot at you. That's, whoo, yep, this is the trimmed down version, huh? Here's a quick guide to help you decide where to start. The Exalted of Creation. These Exalted have their origins in places from or allied with the main body of creation. If this is your first time picking up Exalted, start here. Hey, it is. I am. Dragon-Blooded are elemental demigods and legendary warriors. Many belong to the aristocracy of the realm, creation's greatest and most terrible empire, but many other Dragon-Blooded communities exist. If playing an elementally themed hero or an aristocratic prince of the earth seems like your thing, turn to page 48. Exigents are unique Exalted of lesser gods. Our example Exigent is the Straw Maiden Genest. If playing a hardy, two-fisted woman of the earth sounds like a good time, turn to page 84. This section also demonstrates how to craft your own Exalt type. Lunar Exalted are witches, tricksters, and monsters. They have the power to shapeshift into any animal or into humans they've hunted, and their inherent magic is equally transformative. If playing a a tricky shifter, sounds fun. Go to page 52. Sidereal Exalted are the elite agents of Heaven's Bureau of Destiny. Masters of martial arts and legendary mentors, they're in charge of making sure destined things come to pass. If playing a fighting bureaucrat seems cool, turn to page 56. Sidereals are fate ninjas. I like fate ninja better than fighting bureaucrats. It sounds like that sounds like the worst sports team name. Like, oh, what's your high school team? Oh, mine was the Sharks. And oh, what's your high school team? Oh, we were Timberwolves. And what was your school name? Oh, we were the bureaucrats. Go fighting bureaucrats. Officially, the connections are like Easter eggs for fans of the other lines. You'll see them often. Good. Look, as a fan of the other line, I'm gonna go woo every time I see an Easter egg. There's no revolving door crossover, but it also gives reference for World of Darkness storytellers so they can get into the game quicker. I appreciate that, honestly. I appreciate that. As I am the target audience. I am the target audience for all these little Easter eggs, and I'm gonna keep going woo every time I see them, because they are for me. They are for me. I can tell that at the Onyx Path offices, there's a little picture of me, and it's just do it for him. It's for me. It's personal. It's mine. They kind of get done dirty, but they also kind of deserve it in lore. All right, good to know. I guess we'll see shortly, right? Solar Exalted are lawgivers, masters of human skill, peerless sorcerers, and legendary artificers. They are heroes of unrivaled power whose works and deeds have no equal. If being a legend of unmatched skill sounds fun, go to page 60. I mean, yeah. So this is the anti-Billy character, basically. I'm excited about the Solars. Let's see. And then if you're brand new to Exalted, Solars or Dragon-Blooded are the simplest and most straightforward sources. All right, well, let's check them out. Exalted of the Other Realms. All right, there's the other ones. These Exalted draw power from forces outside creation or hold dominion there. It's helpful to know a bit about the setting before playing one, but not required. Yeah, you like the Solars, and the Dragon Blood. I mean, yeah, those are the two main ones that also, like, the game itself goes like, if you're undecided about anything, just go with one of those. I'm curious about the other Exalted. Let's see. Abyssal Exalted are powerful necromancers, emissaries of the underworld, and knights sworn to the Death Lords. As Death's lawgivers, they bring a new order to the underworld and conquer kingdoms of the dead. If playing a chivalric, deathly knight appeals to you, turn to page 64. Gotta be honest, it kind of does. Alchemical Exalted are heroes forged from clay and magical materials. In the faraway world of Autochtonia, they are champions of its human inhabitants. Others remain in creation, previously lost to the depths of history. If playing a machine demigod or an alien from a bizarre world sounds fun, turn to page 68. That also sounds like a blast. I do love playing robots. Getimian Exalted never existed, but the power of their exaltation creates them and lets them remember creation not as it is, but as it could have been. If playing an outsider who remembers a world that doesn't exist excites you, go to page 72. Oh, that's fascinating. Oh, I love that. Yeah, I cannot wait to get to page 72 and see what's up with the Getimian. That concept is bizarre and lovely. Infernal Exalted have demonic power drawn from the hell realm of Malpheus. All of them suffered grievous wrongs in their mortal life. Now they have power to claim their revenge. They tear down the old orders of the world, breaking the systems responsible for their suffering. If playing a vengeance-driven badass sounds too cool to pass up, go to page 76. I think Alchemical Splat was announced on Kickstarter today for those with cash and interest. Yeah, it was. They actually, I just saw that during one of the previous breaks. I mean, it's in the book, presumably. We're going to have the Alchemicals. But yeah, the full, Splat book just got announced out. So, I'm biased. Plays the Getimian. The last time my group touched Exalted, did enjoy. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I love the concept of them. At least what I've been presented here. I'm curious to see what we'll see once we get to them. But that's a really cool concept. Liminal Exalted are undead. The product of someone's attempt at resurrection. They are outsiders who protect the boundary between the living and the dead. If being an undead monster who protects humanity is your thing, go to page 80. Alchemicals, Catimians, and Liminals have rules that make using their powers slightly more complicated. Storytellers running the game for new players should check in with them and ask if they find this kind of complexity exciting or frustrating. I, for one, big fan on the exciting side. Excited to see what's going on there. Reading this section. Oh, cool. So you're actually going to teach me a little bit. This is great. This is great. This is real. This is okay. I'm babbling. I'm babbling because this is fucking amazing. I've seen this. I've seen very little of this in other games where you're about to introduce me. You're about to tell me all this stuff about each one of these Exalted, and I'm excited for that. But we're about to be hit with a lot of info, right? We're about to be hit with a lot. So they're like, hey, before we get into, here's one page explaining, reading, this is what you're going to see. Here's how to interpret this. This is fucking great. Or at least the concept of it. Let's actually read the page. Maybe it's trash. But I love the concept. This is great. Let's see. Essence is also the most fanable-friendly version of Exalted. It really does condense information from a ton of other books in years. The Sidereal book was also recently released. Gotta run. Great cast. I'll keep... No worries, TJ's here. Thank you so much for hanging out. Really appreciate it. And yes, the replay will be on YouTube, on my channel. Search for Uncivilized Games. Otherwise, like here on Twitch. Or let me know. I will be back, as always, tomorrow. So, great. Thank you. Again, thanks so much for hanging out, buddy. All right, so let's check out the reading this section real quick. Let's see how they want to prepare us for seeing all this stuff, and then we'll go to ads one more time because I just got the alert, so we have just enough time to look at this page. Reading this section. The following section contains a lot of important information for playing one of the Exalted, which means it presents a lot of things to understand all at once. Some new players may find this overwhelming, so here's a breakdown of what each section represents and how to read it. Core rules required. Please note that all the following special abilities will reference the game's core rules. We recommend you stick a bookmark in Chapter 4. It starts on page 114. You'll want to flip back and forth between what's presented there and what we're referencing here. If you're using a PDF, we've hyperlinked the important pages. Beautiful. A lexicon of system terms can be found on page 17. This is brilliant. Exalt advantages. These are inherent bonuses an Exalt gets for being that type of Exalted. 2 of them are special, always-on abilities that change the way the character interacts with certain rules, and the third involves what magical materials the Exalt resonates with. Resonance and magical materials, page 47. It's not that hard. Look at it. I mean, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. The Exalt resonates with. Resonance unlocks special modes if they have taken the artifact merit, page 101, for a corresponding material. Cast or aspect. Each Exalt type breaks down into a series of subtypes. Each flavor, how the character interacts with the world, adjusts the way she uses certain rules, determines her anima effect, as well as how she earns Exalt milestones, page 107. These also detail certain stereotypes or guidelines for playing them, but don't feel constrained by this. If you want to play a unique spin or against type cast or aspect, such as a brash and loud, no moon, or calm, contemplative fire aspect, go for it. Anima effects. As a character uses motes, she gains anima. Anima is a display of raw divine power, an aura of light or shadow that surrounds them. Anima effects are broken down into 3 main categories: passive, active, and iconic. Passive effects don't turn off. The character has access to their effect at all times. Active anima requires the character to have built up 3 anima before it turns on. Iconic anima happens when the character has accrued 10 anima and are impressive displays of power. Cool. I love auras. I love this anime bullshit. Beautiful. Cast mark. When an Exalt channels essence, their power manifests as a sign upon their brow called the cast mark. As the name implies, they are unique to a particular Exalt's cast and are a clear indicator to savants and other Exalted of the chosen's role and purpose. It may be concealed by thick fabric while the Exalt's anima is dim. See page 183. Love it. But cannot be concealed when animal level rises. For Solars, Lunars, Sidereals, Infernals, and Getimians, the cast mark is a radiant sigil in the color of their Exalt's anima. For Abyssals, the mark appears as a burned and blackened brand, sometimes weeping small trickles of blood. Alchemicals do not have cast marks. Dragon-blooded and Liminals have aspect markings instead of cast marks. Most exigents don't have cast marks or aspect markings, though the rare few who belong to a group of exigents created by a single god may. Using anima effects, as stated above, passive anima effects are always on and always apply. Active and iconic anima effects trigger when the character has accrued enough anima to activate them. Iconic anima effects persist for as long as the character has 10 anima accrued, unless it states another duration. If it requires the expenditure of anima, the effect happens and then resolves, and the character will no longer have 10 anima. The following rules apply. Anima effects usually modify actions taken by the characters, such as attacks, social influence, movement, and so on. The text will say which action. Sometimes it will indicate narrative parameters, such as while investigating. The storyteller and player should agree on what applies within reason. Anima effects may be declared and used on the character's turn or response. If they apply defensively, using anima effect is always reflexive unless the effect states otherwise. Read page 183 for more information on building and using anima. Hell yeah. Okay, so we know now what we're about to see, and we're going to start off with the Dragon-Blooded, but you know the drill. We're going to start off with the Dragon-Blooded after these messages. We'll be right back. Welcome back. All right, folks, ads are over, and we're about to look at the Dragon-Blooded. Now, the Dragon-Blooded are, of course, convinced that they are the heroes of our story. Let's see what we've got about them. The Dragon-Blooded. The Dragon-Blooded are the chosen of the elemental dragons, sometimes called the terrestrial Exalted. They are the inheritors of legendary power, and their forebears slew the solar Exalted in the usurpation. Their deeds in the centuries that followed shaped the world as it is today. All over the creation, the Dragon-Blooded roam without fear, hunting anathema and forging new legends. Play one of the Dragon-Blooded if you want to be a scion of the realm, at the heart of dynastic intrigue, a soldier in Lokshai's 7th Legion, defending the scavenger lands, an itinerant monk spreading the immaculate philosophy, or a wandering hero protecting villages from bandits and monsters. Dragon-Blooded Exalt advantages. Prince of the Earth. As the Exalted that rule much of the world, Dragon-Blooded find support anywhere. Once per session, the character may select one merit from the list on page 106 and treat it as though it had a rating based on her essence. Tertiary at essence 1, secondary at essence 2, primary at essence 5, working its acquisition with the storyteller. The benefit lasts for the duration of the session. Interesting. Okay, we'll have to look at those merits. Page 106. Let's actually do that. Let's take a quick look at the kind of stuff. Because now we're looking right at what the characters can actually do. So you have access basically once per session, you select one merit from this list, and depending on your essence, it looks like your essence goes from 1 to 3. We haven't seen the actual ratings yet, right? We know what essence is, so we don't know how we get it. But anyway, so 106. Here we go. 105. 106. Really? Wait. Book. Page. Merit from the list on page 106. Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah, you're right. Here we go. So these are the merits. So allies, artifacts, backing, command, contact, familiar, followers, hearthstone, influence, or resources. Okay, so these are like all like quote unquote real world things that you can pick up because you're dragon blooded, you have access, you're a prince of the earth. Okay, these all make sense. Yeah, this all makes sense that you as a dragon blooded would be able to once per session use your dragon blooded, you know, heritage, your dragon blooded what's a pedigree? Pedigree, that's the word I was looking for. Use your dragon blood pedigree to temporarily gain one of these, and the higher your power, the more. Yeah, okay, good, cool. I really like that. It makes logical sense for the character type, right? So that's solid. 10,000 dragons fight as one. When making teamwork actions after calculating the total successes to add as dice, add an additional die. If making a teamwork action with someone in the dragon-blooded circle or hearth, add another die. Cool. I do like that. I like character abilities and default, especially default character abilities and stuff that are about collaboration. They're about helping the other party, about doing things in collaboration with them. That's solid stuff. I like that. And then resonance. Dragon-blooded are resonant with all types of jade. So we'll learn about these materials at some point, I suppose. Anima. Dragon-blooded's elemental aspect dictates her anima banner's appearance. It glows with colors associated with that element and may make the terrestrial's own aspect markings stand out more. At the iconic level, it's accompanied by related sounds and scents like crackling fire or crashing waves. When a dragon-blooded has 5 or more anima, all non-dragon-blooded within a close range must make reflexive fortitude plus physique rolls at the start of the dragon-blooded's turn with a difficulty equal to the Exalt's essence plus 2, or suffer 1 level of damage from raw elemental essence. Wow, okay, 5 more anima, all down. So basically you explode in your... Sorry. I covered my mouth and then like basically burped directly into the mic. You're welcome, everybody. Please follow. Please follow. Please give me money on the stream. I'm here. That's what I'm here for. Goddamn professional. Okay, I like this. Suffer 1 level of damage from raw elemental essence. This only destroys scenery when it would be dramatically appropriate or at the player's choice. Kind of love that. Dragon-blooded aspects. So the 5 dragon-blooded aspects represent each of the elements. The dragon-blooded grows in essence. Subtle signs of their aspect, called aspect markings, become more evident. Water aspects may appear to have perpetually dampened hair or develop a pattern of blue-black scales. Air aspects might float an inch off the ground or waken covered in rime frost, while wood aspects might develop bark-like skin and flowers growing from their hair. At high essence, aspect markings are particularly pronounced. An earth aspect might have irises like perfectly cut gemstones, and a fire aspect may be visibly smoking and steaming even in hot environs. Okay, cool. Here's the thing, like, I kind of want to hate them just because they're the default choice, but I don't. I get what you're doing here, and I'm into it. Air aspects. And then within that, you have like the 5 aspects. So you could have like a full 5-player like Sentai, group, basically an air and earth, fire, water, and wood, dragon-blooded, and that would be a full campaign just on that alone, which could be an interesting story to tell as well. Air aspects are idealists, visionaries, scholars, and innovators. They see the potential inherent in everyone and view the world as it could be. The blue and white anima banners whirl and billow like storm clouds. At the iconic level, lightning flashes and birds and dragons glide within. At the end of each session, air aspects gain an Exalt milestone if they took an action towards furthering a long-term goal. You can have a circle of one of each if you buy into the Empire's ideology. Or even if you don't buy into the Empire's ideology. Like, that could be a story, right? Like, okay, here's a campaign I could see myself running. You each play, we got 5 players, right? Each one of you plays a different element of Dragon-blooded. So you all start as like officers in the Empire or something, right? And you start off, you're participating in a wild hunt, you're all in, and then that campaign slowly leads into, the turning into like, this discovering darkness basically in the empire around you and all that, and then you're making decisions, you're changing ideologies, or you're choosing to support them, however it is. Like that could be a really cool campaign to run. Let's see. At the end of each session, air aspects gain an Exalted milestone if they took an action towards furthering a long-term goal. Okay, cool. Anima effects. Buoyed by the wind, passive. Once per turn, the air aspect may leap an additional range band vertically or horizontally as part of a movement action. She takes no falling damage from short range drops. I like that. That's kind of like that, the Wushu movie, like. Malice Breath, active. Subtract 2 dice from all ranged attacks targeting the air aspect. Cool. And then Eye of the Hurricane, iconic. Increase the air aspect's defense and the defense of all allies within short range by half her essence rounded up. When targeted by influence which would sway her away from a long-term goal or would drive her to act impulsively, increase her resolve by 1. All right, cool effects for air. So basically, you have increased mobility. Once you increase your anima a bit, then you have defense against ranged attacks. And at your iconic level, you raise your defense and the defense of those around you, and you have bonuses to resist to your resolve for resisting being swayed away from your goals. Kind of dig that. All right, cool. Air is solid. But speaking of solid, Earth. Earth aspects are implacable foes on the battlefield, standing firm to defend their allies, stoic and resilient. They believe in strong foundations and sturdy structures, whether they're building a community, an architectural marvel, or an imperial legion. What an Earth aspect builds endures. Their yellow and white animas smell of loam and rumble like the shifting earth. At the iconic level, mountains loom behind them, and oxen and rocky dragons plod along in their glow. At the end of each session, Earth aspects gain an Exalted milestone if they stood their ground against a foe. Anima effect. Okay, so that's interesting. Air gets a bonus if they took an action related to furthering a long-term goal. Earth gets one if they stood their ground against a foe. I do like that. I do like that because you've got a way to regain to gain a milestone, to grow in experience, right? By kind of following what your specific elemental resonance is. I dig that. All right, anima effects for the Earth. Fury of the Earth is your passive. You start with that. The Earth aspect reduces the cost of the knockback or knockdown gambits against extras to 0. Outside of combat, she may knock trivial characters within short range prone or 1 range band away without making an attack roll. Okay, that's cool. That's kind of cool. Passiep still stands, active. Okay, so once you build up enough anima, add the Earth aspect's essence to the cost of a throw, knockback, or knockdown gambits used against them. This cannot make the cost exceed 10. All right. I've got some comments on this, but let me get to the last one. Unyielding Stone, iconic. Add the Exalt's essence to her soak for the remainder of the scene. The character cannot be targeted with the throw, knockback, or knockdown gambits. She may spend 2 anima when denying influence and prevent the target from gaining the dice bonus. But she may spend 2 anima when denying influence and prevent the target from gaining the dice bonus from her refusal. Okay, so I'm assuming that's for social things. She may not apply this effect to the target again during the same scene. Okay, so kind of like an emotional stubbornness and resilience. So here's the thing: all the Earth bonuses are tied around specific combat, like gambits, I guess is what they're calling it here. I don't mind that, but I'm curious now to see what. If you play into the archetype, you get XP. It's more concrete than saying good. Yeah, exactly. Agreed. I get it, and I like it. But like I'm thinking. For Earth specifically, like I want to look. I'm gonna have to look at system and see just how often these conditions and moves are used, how valuable and everything. Because like in your average combat, always at sort of at the top of the list, right? At the top of the things you're going to do any given round are going to be actions that cause direct damage, right? But here you're giving me all sorts of bonuses and reasons to use and to resist, knockback and knockdown, and make it difficult for people to do that to me. Increase my soak. and just completely resist those moves. So there's like an expectation, a gameplay expectation that A, I'm going to be doing those moves a lot, and B, that those moves will be used against me. And having this is worth it, right? So I can protect against those moves. I don't know yet about combat, right? How true that is about the combat. I think it probably will be, hopefully. I mean, again, we're 3rd edition and then a streamlined one, so hopefully they know what they're doing. But it is one of those like, it's very specific, and it hopefully is an indicator that it means that like these are important things, right? That combat is more than just like I hit you and then you hit me back, and then we continue back and forth until one of us falls down. Fire Dragon-Blooded. What do we have to know about Fire Dragon-Blooded? Passionate and dynamic. Fire aspects, there we go. Fire aspects' emotions burn brightly. They sear their marks across the world as warriors, politicians, and iconoclasts. Their fiery red, orange, and gold anima smell of smoke or hot metal. At the iconic level, volcanoes erupt within, and dragons and phoenixes cavort in the flames. At the end of each session, fire aspects gain an Exalted milestone if their passionate deeds or speeches influence a significant character or group to take action. Cool. Again, play into your archetype, get XP. Anima effects. Where there's smoke, the passive one, at the start of any scene, the fire aspect may sense anyone present in the scene who harbors grudges or heated emotions. Figuring out the cause of their enmity is up to the character. She gains a bonus die to any social actions to uncover or leverage those emotions. That's unexpected. I would not have expected the sort of the Fire Dragon-Blooded to like their core ability to be actually kind of like a social emotional one. I would expect it's some kind of like damage bonus or something. I prefer this. This is cool. Hesia's Passion, active. The fire aspect gains her essence in automatic successes on social interactions to inspire a crowd or persuade a target to act on his ambitions. She also becomes immune to mundane environmental hazards based on fire and heat for the scene, and reduces the damage of magical sources or attacks by 2 dice or 1 health level if it's not rolled. Solid. Again, focusing on the emotional aspect of fire, but also there's a physical now, like physical protection. And the final iconic level, Wildfire Dance. The fire aspect's fury ignites her weapons. The Exalt subtracts her essence from the target's soak on step 6. On a hit, the target catches fire and suffers from the burning surroundings hazard, page 146, and increases the difficulty on the resistance roll by the Exalt's essence. The target rolls reflectively for this hazard at the end of the Exalt turn. So basically, at the highest level, your weapons are flaming, they do more damage, or they overcome soak more, and they catch things on fire. Because here's the big, like, I still am fire. Like, it's mostly social, but also fire do burn. Struggle Bus, remember, stunting is a thing, and in true anime style, there is some buildup of tension before dealing direct damage to a foe. So as an example, think Fate for creating aspects and then main damage deal tags. Set aspects and deals the mega punch. It's not one-on-one, but it's not, yeah, no, exactly. So I get it. Like I said, it's just, I want to see what the combat looks like, because I've seen combat systems where like there are like moves you can do, but they're not like, in those examples, they felt like, why would I do that when it's much more efficient for me to just do damage, right? Doing those other moves just extends the fight. I'm not saying that's the way it is here, of course. I'm just saying like that's my initial concern when I see that so much focus around a specific type of maneuver that is like a character's whole defining thing. It's like, if you're gonna make a character's whole, if you're gonna make a character's whole defining thing revolve around a specific game mechanic, or a specific combat mechanic, not combat in general, but a specific thing within combat, then I want to make sure that that's something that's going to come up often enough to make it worth it for me as a player, right? And so hopefully it does. Yeah, it sounds like it is. It sounds like, yeah, setting up stuff like knockdowns and knockbacks and knockdowns, moving people around the battlefield, stuff like that is part of the concept of combat, right? Like, it sounds like that. We'll get to it. I'm excited for that. Definitely not today. Today we're already like at almost 4:30. We'll have one more ad break, and then we'll wrap up the Scream. I keep saying Scream instead of Stream. What is weird? Anyway. Cool. Fire we like. Water. Calm and relentless. Water aspects adapt to obstacles and wear down stubborn foes. As diplomats, investigators, and naval commanders, they see many paths to a satisfying solution. Their dark blue and sea green animas smell like brine and babble like brooks. At the iconic level, whirlpools churn within, and fish, siakas, and water dragons swim in their depths. At the end of each session, water aspects gain an Exalted milestone if they adapted their plans to accommodate a significant change of circumstances. Interesting. Okay, I like that. Anima effects. Surface skimmer, your passive effect. The water aspect may move along any liquid surface like it was solid ground. This doesn't afford her protection from acid or demon tar, and breathes water as easily as air. She suffers no penalty to move or attack while underwater. Wow, that's just your base effect. That's really nice. Flow of the Nod. Active. So add essence automatic successes to gambits where the water aspect attempts to disarm an opponent or pilfer an item. When an opponent targets her with a grapple or attempts to ensnare her, the Exalt adds her essence to defense. Okay, that all makes sense. Again, I'm curious. I'm excited to see how combat actually breaks down. Flow like water at iconic. Once per turn, the water aspect may roll an attack twice on step 3 and choose to keep the better result. Oh, that's dope. In non-combat scenes, she may re-roll any roll involving investigation, negotiation, or relentless pursuit. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, and then wood, the final aspect here for the Dragon-Blooded. Wood, here we go. Deeply attuned to the cycle of life and death. Wood aspects are healers and poisoners, thrill seekers, and beast tamers. New experiences accelerate them. Vibrant greens color their animas, which smell of fresh mown grass and blooming flowers. At the iconic level, riotous vines surround them, and forest animals and wood dragons stalk their branches. At the end of each session, wood aspects gain an Exalted milestone if they experience something new and exciting to them with a significant character or a group, or their actions foster change in a significant character or group. Anima effects, natural immunity. The wood aspect is immune to plant-based poisons and applies a 2 success bonus and rolls to resist poisons, other poisons, or disease. The active one, Spring of Sextus Iulis. Spend 1 anima on step 2. Add the Exalt's essence to defense against 1 attack. Cool. And Sap of Life, iconic. Spend 1 anima reflexively to heal 1 health level, Spend 1 anima reflexively to heal 1 health level, either that the wood aspect's taken or an ally within short range has suffered, starting with the most severe. She may spend up to 10 anima on this effect and may apply it to multiple targets. Nice, so a healing effect. Oh, my camera froze. I just realized my camera completely froze. Let me give us a second, folks. Give us a second. We are fixing that. What? No, later. No time for software, Jesus Christ. iPhone. No, not the time to install an OS update. Let's get that camera back up. Sorry, folks, bear with. There it is. Let's adjust that. Go, and there we are. Okay, back. Fun. Equipment troubles. Sorry about that. Okay, as a dragon-blooded, you are a prince of the earth, heir to the bloodline of 1,000,000 heroes, tracing back to the 5 elemental dragons. All creation respects and fears your heritage. You are exalted during puberty, earlier or later, depending on the strength of your bloodline, and have been exalted for no less than 5, but no more than 20 years. Neat. Okay, so those are the dragon-blooded exalted. Now, the lunar exalted, who apparently are sneaky and villainous. Or are they? Look at that. Their shadow is demonic and evil, but they are cool and sexy, right? That's the main point of the lunar exalted, to be cool and sexy. Let us read up on the lunar exalted. The chosen of Luna rule dominions across creation and oversee the growth and progress of others as witches, warriors, and liminal monsters. They forge their own castes with magic never seen before or after. Once they forged a mystical bond between them and the Solars, and still rage and mourn over the usurpation. Lunars pass wisdom and lore down through the Silver Pact, presenting a more or less united front against the realm. Pact Lunars also seek out newly exalted Lunars, offering moon silver tattoos to affirm their chosen caste. Play a lunar exalt if you want to oppose the established powers of the world, you love the free and wild places of creation, or you want to be a shapeshifter of 1,000 forms. Fascinating. So, like, that's the thing. Like, they almost sound like bad guys, right? They almost sound like they are straight up antagonists. Like they are more or less united front against the realm, and they are unhappy about what the Dragon Blooded did. So, like, my question, I guess, well, let's keep reading, right? Let's keep reading. But my question is, like, okay, so with that in mind, how if I make a Dragon Blooded and you make a Lunar, how are we working together, right? How are we both part of a party? Because based on what I'm seeing so far, we should just immediately start fighting, right? Sounds like. Let's see. 10,000 forms. The Lunar gains access to an animal shape representative of their character and called their spirit shape during their exaltation. They also have a mode of Sacred Hunt, which the player chooses at character creation. Lunars must invoke the Sacred Hunt to acquire new forms. Predators must ritually hunt their target and drink their heart's blood, tricksters must outwit or beguile their target, and stalkers must observe and pursue their target if the target is sapient. That means learning at least one of their virtues or intimacies. If the hunt is successful, the Lunar adds this target to the shapes they know. Sorry, catching up in chat. They sound like bad guys, but so does Batman often. True, exactly. No, I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's more than they sound like bad guys. It's like there is a built-in antagonism here, and I'm curious what is the in-game excuse for that antagonism not just immediately making them unplayable at my table if somebody chooses a Dragon Blooded, for example, right? That's my curiosity there. Let's see here. And cool, I do like that in order to acquire new forms, you basically have to hunt your target. That's actually pretty cool. I dig that. Sorry. The Lunar can spend one mote to shift into these shapes. Shape-shifting is reflexive and ends whenever the Lunar chooses to change back. Even shifted, however, they retain a unique tell, such as silver eyes, black nails, or razor teeth. Choose this, too, during character creation. Trivial characters cannot spot it. Non-trivial characters trying to notice the tell must make an awareness or integrity roll at difficulty 7. A character who has previously detected the tell gains a 3 dice bonus to spot it again. Alright, solid. So it's not a perfect disguise. A Lunar may start play with as many forms as the player and storyteller deem appropriate, unless the character takes the charm Antangirim Wisdom, page 259. These forms cannot have the tiny creature or legendary size qualities. Okay, so by default, they're just kind of normal size unless you have a specific thing. The Lunar can acquire additional forms throughout the course of the game. While in the form of the animal, the Lunar gains access to the animal's special quality. For example, a jellyfish's ability to sting, plus any other narratively appropriate bonuses or penalties. She uses her dice pools as normal. See the section on animals on page 324. Transforming into another human grants their appearance and voice, but no other special skills or traits without the use of magic. Cool. Basic shape-shifting logic. All of that sounds pretty solid. Bastion Ideals, once per story, if the Lunar would gain a new intimacy. We'll check that out. That I'm assuming is tied to the social system. One of the few times where a C page X would have helped here. She may create it at the major rather than minor rating. Furthermore, the Lunar gains an extra die when her role is supported by any of her major intimacies or virtues. And you're resonant with Moonsilver. Okay, cool. Moonsilver tattoos, animus, and lunar casts. We'll read about all of those after what is going to be, I promise, the absolute last ad break of the stream. All right, be right back, folks. Hey, hey, Sour and Sublimes, welcome in, friend. Hey, how you doing? All right, we are back, and that was the last ad break because we will be finishing this stream in half an hour at most. So let us wrap up with Lunar Exalted. For anyone new to the stream, we are checking out Exalted Essence, the book, the game, the experience. All right, the Lunar Exalted, they shapeshift, they have passion ideals. Cool. Let's check out their anima first. When active, a lunar's anima shines in an argent aura around her. At the iconic level, it becomes a brilliant beacon manifesting the lunar's personal imagery, often her spirit shape. Very cool, very cool. There we'll read about the cast in a moment, but first, what's this sidebar up here at the top? Lunars use moon silver tattoos to define their castes and protect against body warping powers like sorcery and the wild. Any rolled wild effect or unwanted shape-shifting magic, including Raksha charms, targeting the lunar's physical body increases its difficulty by the lunar's essence. Unrolled effects fail against the lunar. Each tattoo is a personal design and may resemble geometric shapes, animals, or other naturalistic features or mystical runes, depending on the lunar's choice. And as you can see by the art there, you see how they've got those like moon silver tattoos on their arm. Very cool. And chest and I guess head. Very cool overall. Totally dig that. And I like that. I like that these shapeshifters, because of A, these tattoos, and B, they're natural shapeshifters. So it makes sense that they have a higher defense, a higher ability to resist being shapeshifted against their will. It makes sense, and you know what? You can't ask for more than that, right? So let's see here. The lunar cast. The lunars count 3 casts of their own making, though some lack a cast at all. You know, we got the full moon, changing moon, no moon, and the cast list on the last cast list there on the last page. So let's check out the forecasts. Forecast, yeah, get it. The full moon is a warrior to their core, meeting the world's dangers head on through physical prowess and dogged determination. They might be a warrior king or a gloried hero. Their animal form is powerful and strong, such as a bear, bull, or horse. Their caste mark is a silver disc, and their anima shines bright and steady as the full moon. At the end of the session, full moon cast gain an exalt milestone if they defeated a significant foe in single combat. Anima effects, unstoppable is your starting one. Extras, page 316, cannot deal damage to the full moon. So extras, I'm guessing, are probably something like mooks in other games, like low-level enemies and stuff that you don't have to worry about too much. And if you're a full moon lunar exalted with at least a base level of anima, extras cannot touch you. Any damage rolls they would make on step 7 generate 0 successes. Battle groups subtract the full moon's essence from their damage on step 7. Battle groups. Oh, I mean, look, you're playing. Wow, that shine there is really badly placed. You're playing these powerful heroes, right? So I'm excited to look at the combat because I suspect we are going to see examples like that make me think of games like Dynasty Warriors, right? Where you've got like just this one person with just a huge naginata or whatever, just whipping over their heads and just taking out entire armies all on their own. This is what that sounds like. It sounds like battle groups are probably like a group of enemies, and you're treating them as one because you're an exalted. That's what the vibe I'm getting. I'm hoping I'm right. Crushing Might. Active. The lunar adds her essence in automatic successes to any force or fortitude roll that is not an attack. This applies to build power actions and gambits as an exception. Okay, wait, let's reread that. You add your essence in automatic successes to any force or fortitude roll that is not an attack. Okay, so you're just stronger than anything. Okay, cool. And then Impossible Vigor at the iconic level. Lunar heals 1 damage anytime they incapacitate an enemy. Neat. I like powers that give you a reward for taking enemies down. So solid. Changing Moon. The Changing Moon is a silver-tongued trickster relying on cleverness and irrepressible charm to beat their foes. They might be a spy, assassin, or scout. Their animal shape is quick, clever, and often beautiful, such as a fox, cat, or raven. Their caste mark is a crescent moon, and their anima is a shifting of silver light and dark or blue-purple shadows. Dark blue or purple shadows, rather. At the end of each session, Changing Moon cast gain an exalt milestone if they commit a successful act of espionage or sabotage. Okay, so they're basically natural spies. Anima effects, Silver Tongue is your passive effect. Trivial targets cannot detect any lie by the changing moon tells. And accept it as truth no matter how outlandish. The changing moon cannot make them commit self-harm or do things they would not be capable of, but otherwise they will buy your lies. That sounds abusable, but fun. Tricksters can't is your active anima effect. The lunar adds your essence in automatic successes to social rolls made to persuade, bargain, or deceive. The lunar must beguile their target in some regard. Cool. And finally, untouchable at the iconic level. In combat, enemies targeting the changing moon with any action suffer a dice penalty equal to her essence. Outside of combat, enemies cannot identify the character as anything other than some form of their iconic animal shape, either in a terrifying war form or as a radiant god beast. Onlookers still know she is some kind of magical being, if not a lunar. Interesting. So basically you become like a sort of archetypal creature as far as people are concerned. Interesting. I like it. All right, No Moon. The No Moon relies on intellect and wisdom. They like riddles and secrets and challenges clever foes just to prove their superiority. They have a knack for sorcery. Their animal is one that symbolizes wisdom, mystery, or a communion with mystical forces, such as an owl, snake, or octopus. Their caste mark is a silver circle, and dark blue and purple shadows cloud their anima, with just a trace of silver light at the edges. At the end of each session, No Moon casts gain an Exalted milestone if they saved the day or changed the course of events with an application of wisdom, discretion, or their secret knowledge. Your anima effects is a No Moon. If you're Unseen Moon, passive, let's see, trivial targets cannot see or hear the No Moon unless the lunar chooses to allow it. Significant characters suffer a 3 dice penalty to determine her identity if she wishes to conceal it. Okay, so bonuses to Sneaky Sneak. Silver Wisdom, active. The lunar adds their essence in automatic successes to fortitude or finesse rolls involving observation, study, or the pursuit of knowledge. Cool, so you get bonuses to being a nerd. And the Dark Moon's Blessing, iconic. All mundane efforts at stealth fail in the No Moon's presence. Hidden objects fall from their hiding place. Creatures using charms to hide must make a stealth roll against a difficulty of 3 plus the No Moon's essence. Trivial targets keeping a secret from the No Moon immediately spill it, while non-trivial characters roll integrity against the difficulty of her essence to do the same. Oh, that's kind of... I mean, you got to get to Anima 10, right, to do that, but wow. Like, just intimidate, basically magically intimidate people into giving you whatever secrets they have. And then finally, the castless. The castless may be newly exalted and not yet caught up with the Silver Pact, or maybe they're an elder lunar who chooses to remain castless. Either way, they don't benefit from moon silver tattoos. They may have any kind of animal form. Their caste mark and anima are ever-changing, like the faces of the moon. At the end of each session, castless gain an Exalted milestone if they successfully executed a clever and daring plan. Anima effects. Reflected Moon. The castless chooses a passive anima effect from another lunar cast to use as their own. They can change the passive effect whenever they gain a personal or Exalted milestone. Shifting Moon's Reserve. Choose an attribute plus ability roll iconic to the character. The castless always adds essence and automatic successes to that roll. Choose the attribute plus ability when this effect comes into play. It cannot be switched until the next scene. Okay, and then finally, Chimera's Visage, iconic. The castless may waive the usual cost for shapeshifting, while in iconic anima, the castless is immune to any effect that would transform her body against her will. She may spend 2 anima to end any single transformation already in effect when she reaches iconic. Interesting, so the castless are the most flexible. They can choose stuff, they can choose passive effects from the other casts. They have a very flexible way, sort of like a flex skill almost way of giving a bonus to one of their iconic roles. And they can, at the highest levels, the super flexibility, super shapeshift, and even recover from being shapeshifted against their will, despite not having the protection of the moon silver tattoos. I really dig that. As a lunar exalt, you were chosen by Luna for your heroic deeds, receiving their blessing and unleashing your potential. You likely encountered another lunar soon after and were invited, but not compelled, to join the lunar society known as the Silver Pact. You have been exalted for less than 5 years. I like that we're getting like these little intros to like, okay, this is your base. Like build from there, but this is your base. I like that. Okay, how much time do we have? It's 4:44 over here. Make a wish. And I think we can probably get through the sidereal. We're definitely not getting to the solar. So tomorrow, no, not tomorrow. So tomorrow is working on my game kind of day. So that means that you're gonna have to wait till Tuesday for the solar Exalted. Oh, I'm so sorry for you. I know you're all excited about the solar Exalted. You'll have to wait till Tuesday because today we're looking at the sidereal Exalted, and then it's time for Friday and weekend schedules. So, sidereal Exalted. Sidereal Exalted are the chosen of the maidens of fate, or also, Sailor Moon. They are secret agents dispatched from the heavenly city of Yushan to smooth out tangled destinies. With the gift of astrology, they see the future and weave it to their own ends. They are also the masters of the esoteric sidereal martial arts. Play a sidereal if you want to be an elite agent of destiny, a power broker in celestial politics, a wise advisor guiding your fellow heroes, a genius martial artist, or an oracle working from the shadows. Shrug goes, man, they're cookie cutter. I'm the best at skills, resource. Yeah, no, I mean, they kind of like play their hand at the beginning, going like, if you want to just be awesome at everything and be the best forever and ever because you are the best, play a Solar, right? And look, the power gamer in me kind of sings to that, right? That there is an attraction, there is a the concept of like, so I can be the best at everything. What's the downside, right? That's my instinctive reaction. So I'm curious. I'm excited for Tuesday. But today we're wrapping up on the sidereals. The sidereal Exalt advantages. Let's see what they get. So after a seed interacting with a sidereal, Arcane Fate, other characters forget her appearance, voice, and other defining traits. Instead, they attribute the sidereal's actions to a passerby or happenstance. Non-trivial characters may resist with a difficulty 5 integrity-based roll. Like difficulty 5, that's not the difficulty of the roll. That's how many successes you need to succeed. A character's intimacies or personal history with a sidereal may add bonus dice on the roll. The sidereal circle is immune as are other sidereals and the Bureau of Destiny's gods. Demons, fae, the undead, and other otherworldly beings are also immune, as are abyssals, Gatimians, infernals, and liminals who lie outside of fate. I like this? Question mark. It's like a built-in arcane, pretty powerful arcane, for those of you who know from World of Darkness. But there's so many exceptions, some of which are good, like your circle, so your other characters are not constantly forgetting about you, right? Other sidereals, but also like basically abyssals, Gatimians, infernals, and liminals. So half of the types, right? Not half of all Exalted, because all those 5 are the ones that apparently are a lot less common, right? But interesting. Okay. So it sounds like a lot, but also all of these are fairly rare. Interestingly, demons, fae, and the undead, that's also immune. So like there are a lot of exceptions, but within like a city, fuck yeah, this is holy crap! You're a terror with this. Weaving destiny. Spend 1 mote reflexively to weave a destiny based on a broad archetype, profession, or social role, granting it to a character with a touch. Once per scene, when attempting a task that resonates with that archetype, the target may transform up to the sidereal's essence dice into automatic successes. New destinies override all old ones. The sidereal may weave a destiny for herself. While active, she loses arcane fate, allowing others to remember their destiny's false persona. Casting off this destiny reasserts arcane fate, causing others to forget the false identity. Fascinating. I like that. It's a clever approach to weaving destiny. Oh, I like that. I do. You know what? I'm gonna give that a proper wow. I like that a lot, actually. It's a really cool mechanic. Resonance. Sidereals are resonant with star metal. Solid. Anima. While active, a sidereal's anima manifests both as a halo and a bright outline in the color of the sidereal's maiden. They also radiate a sense of their maiden's domain. At the iconic level, it becomes a brilliant beacon manifesting the sidereal's personal imagery. Masters of Martial Arts. Let's look at the sidebar real quick. Sidereal's charms are Fate's toolkit, specific and unusual powers designed by the maidens to help maintain and repair the weft of fate. The Sidereal Exalted perfected mastery over martial arts to broaden their expertise and versatility. Whenever Sidereal Exalt gains an Exalt milestone, see page 107, she may use it to purchase martial arts charms as if they were Sidereal charms. Cool. Good to know. Very interesting. I mean, we'll look at the charms and see how that feels, right? Once we get to those in like 3 weeks. Chosen of Journeys. Okay, so these are the casts. The Sidereals are divided into 5 casts, one for each of the Maidens of Fate: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Their cast marks are astrological signs of those maidens. Cool. Makes solid sense. We got the Chosen of Journeys, who are the Chosen of Mercury. Wanderers, pilgrims, and explorers, always seeking the horizon. Their animals are saffron yellow, tinged with a sense of faraway places, dust of the road, sea spray, thunderstorms. End of each session, Chosen of Journeys gain an Exalt milestone if they solved the problem through a path of least resistance or guided others through unknown or dangerous territory. Cool. As anima effects, Auspicious Journey, Insight. Passive. When meeting a character, the Sidereal may ask a question about their recent whereabouts, previous travel, or origins and get an honest, useful answer from the storyteller. Additional questions cost 1 mote each. That's got some Power by the Apocalypse vibes, like spend a thing, answer a question. Lesser Sign of Mercury is your active one. The Sidereal and allies ignore the effects of difficult terrain and transform the Sidereal's essence in dice to automatic successes anytime they would need to roll for movement-related actions, including rolls to prevent falling, resist force movement, or similar effects. Okay, mobility. Greater Sign of Mercury is your iconic one. Spent in anima, the Sidereal can teleport herself and her circle or up to her essence plus 4 allies to a crossroads, major thoroughfare, city center, port, or a trade hub closest to the character's location, depositing them in a safe spot of the storyteller's choice. So, like a get out of jail free card. Cool. Chosen of Serenity. The Chosen of Venus are lovers, poets, romantics, tasked with bringing people together according to heaven's design. Their animus are deep cerulean, tinged with a sense of romance, rose petals, silk, and wine. At the end of each session, the Chosen of Serenity gains an Exalt milestone if they de-escalate a dangerous or violent conflict or soothed the emotions of a significant character. Anima effects are Auspicious Serenity Insight. When meeting a character, Sidereal can ask a question about the character's romantic interests, personal vices, or fond wishes, and get an honest, useful answer from the storyteller. Interesting. Lesser Sign of Venus. Sidereal and her allies may transform her essence in dice to automatic successes on performance and craft rolls based on joy, love, or attraction, including build power actions. Okay, I'm curious about what the build power actions are. And Greater Sign of Venus, iconic. Spent 10 anima, the Sidereal halts all combat within the scene. Participating characters, including other players' characters, may not make attacks, purchase gambits, build power, or use military tactics and naval combat stratagems until the Sidereal has had a chance to either flee or speak. Cool. Chosen of Serenity. Yeah, that makes sense. Chosen of Battles. The Chosen of Mars are warriors, strategists, and firebrands, overseeing the ebb and flow of battle. Their animus are bold crimson, tinged with conflict, the snap of banners in the wind, singing blaze and blood on grass. At the end of each session, the Chosen of Battles gain an Exalt milestone if a significant combatant heeded their counsel or wisdom, or their advice or preparation turned the tides of a significant conflict or led to an acceptable loss. Your anima effects, so Auspicious Battle Insight. Passive. When meeting a character, the Sidereal can ask a question about the character's combat prowess, military goals, or favorite strategies and get an honest, useful answer. Cool. Lesser Sign of Mars. The Sidereal and her allies may transform her essence in dice to automatic successes, presence, and war rolls to rally troops, devise tactics, and implement strategies, including build power actions. And finally, Greater Sign of Mars. Spent in anima, Sidereal distributes 10 power to her allies, divided as she chooses. If this makes a character exceed 10 power, the recipient may bank the excess power as additional damage dice instead, which must be spent before the end of the scene. This does not count towards the dice cap. Cool. So basically you empower your party in battle. Very cool. Chosen of Secrets are occultists, sages, and secret brokers who work in the shadows to uncover forbidden truths. Their animas are dark green, tinged with a sense of the unspoken, shuffling papers, flickering candles, and long shadows. At the end of each session, the Chosen of Secrets gains an Exalt milestone if they interfered in someone else's affairs or discovered a significant secret. The Chosen of Secrets sounds like fun to me. So you've got Auspicious Secrets Insight, which lets you ask a question about the character's criminal activities, greatest shame or field of expertise, and get an honest answer. Okay, and then Lesser Sign of Jupiter, Transform Her Essence and Dice Dynamics. So they all have like different variations of the same powers, which I'm fine with. It makes it easier. On awareness, sagacity, and stealth rolls to do research and revel mysteries or conduct reconnaissance or investigate the unknown. I love the Chosen of Secrets already. This is all good stuff. And finally, the greater sign of Jupiter, spent in anima. For the rest of the session, actions that attempt to detect, track, investigate, or read a sidereal and her allies suffer a 3 success penalty and automatically botch if failed. Characters with an essence equal to or lesser than the sidereal are compelled to tell the truth, and any attempt they make to deceive the sidereal or her allies automatically fails. I love that. Okay, big fan of the Chosen of Secrets. And finally, the Chosen of Endings, which will be how we end today's stream. The Chosen of Saturn are healers, assassins, and bureaucratic advisors who serve as harbingers of death and change. Their animus are violet, tinged with a sense of sorrow, whispering voices, crow wings, and cracking frost. At the end of each session, the Chosen of Endings gain an Exalted milestone if they completed a venture, brought a long-standing problem to a decisive conclusion, or saw a violent conflict to its end. I like that, okay. Auspicious Endings Insight. When meeting a character, Sidereal can ask questions about the character's fears, health, or political ambitions and get an honest, useful answer. Lesser Sign of Saturn transforms your essence into dice dynamic success on Embassy, Integrity, and Awareness rolls to anticipate danger or assess hostile motivations or reach a peaceful conclusion. These are basically like, healers, assassins, and bureaucratic advisors. Let's see what the last one. The spent in anima for the scene, the Sidereal and her allies gain +1 overwhelming. Okay, we'll see what those mechanics actually mean eventually. On withering attacks, on decisive attacks, Soak cannot reduce their success below the Sidereal's essence. Enemies who take damage within short range of the Sidereal may not choose to take a dramatic injury. Okay, I'm definitely going to have to look at, eventually take a really good look at combat, because there's a lot of stuff going on here that I do not understand yet. If a dying character is present in the scene with a Sidereal, she may grant them a peaceful death after appropriately dramatic parting words, sending them immediately into their next life. Cool. All right, I like the vibes there. As a Sidereal Exalt, you were chosen before you were born, and your life before was filled with strange coincidences and omens of fate. You were invited to join your fellow Sidereals as an elite agent of Heaven's Bureau of Destiny, though not all accept this offer. You have been exalted for less than 5 years. Okay, and then again, Tuesday, the return of the Solar Exalted. We'll see how that all works out for us, but that is a problem for Tuesday. For today, we're wrapping up the stream as always. Folks, everybody in chat, both on YouTube and on Twitch, thank you so much, as always, for hanging out with me. If you're curious about when I will be back, that is my schedule. I will be back tomorrow, Friday, as usual, from 2 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Afternoon. And I will be, again, working on my own game. Usually Tuesdays through Thursdays are when I look at games. Fridays, I look at my own game and I take my own lumps and do my own medicine. Last week, we did some pretty serious work on the Crafter. I promised to do some work on my own, and I have not done that, so let me see if I can motivate myself tonight or maybe early tomorrow to clean up a little before we get to it tomorrow. Also, as always, on Fridays, I will hold one, and I may choose to spend that hold to, instead of working on my game, simply playing a video game and hanging out for a few hours. That's always an option on Friday streams, so be prepared for that. But otherwise, let me see here. If I remember correctly, withering attacks affect when people act in the initiative. As well as how much power or damage your decisive attacks do. Decisive deals actual harm to the health track. Interesting. Cool. Okay. Like I said, I'm real curious to see how combat works once we get to that. But also, that's going to be a while too. Well, before we get to that, definitely at the very least next Tuesday. Until then, though, folks, thanks so much for hanging out. Love you all. Enjoy your afternoon, morning, whatever time zone you may be at, and I will be back tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern. Look forward to that, and bye.